Welcome everyone to Community Board 4's October 2021 meeting. It is now 6:05 p.m. We're going to go ahead and get started. We do have a long agenda this evening. I believe we have Isis joining us from the New York State Redistricting Commission. Isis, if you want to go ahead and get us started, and we'll take it from there.
Sounds great. Can everyone hear me well?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, good evening. My name is Isis McIntosh Green. I'm joining you all from the New York State Independent Redistricting Commission. I'm actually just going to share my screen to share a presentation that I've prepared for you all tonight regarding the commission. So the New York State Independent Redistricting Commission, these are our social media platforms that you can all follow us on. Specifically, I would like to draw your attention to our YouTube page. Over the course of the summer, we had a number of listening tour happening where almost 300 New Yorkers came together to be able to share their ideas for what new congressional, state senate, and assembly maps should look like, as well as to explain their community of interest. If you are interested in seeing some of that testimony, you can go to our YouTube page to be able to review that. Let me just start off really quickly with a timeline. So back in 2014, New Yorkers, voters have approved this ballot proposal, Proposition 1, to be able to take the initial map drawing process out of the hands of the legislature, the state legislature, and into the hands of this independent commission. Now, moving forward to 2021 is when the 10-member commission finally received the resources from the state government to be able to begin its process. Its process all led up to on September 15th, when we released 2 sets of maps for both congressional districts, state senate districts, and state assembly districts. And now the reason why I'm here with you all tonight is to be able to get you all to sign up to participate with our upcoming hearings. Our Brooklyn hearing is actually going to be taking place at Medgar Evers College on Tuesday, November 16th at 3 p.m. And I will show that and share that screen a little later on in the presentation. Today is actually our first day of kicking off our hearings. We just had our hearing in Buffalo, if some of you may have participated in that one or viewed it. So who are our commissioners? Our chair is David Imamura and vice chair Jack Martins. Essentially, the biggest thing that we get the most questions about is after the US Census, we understand that New York State was slated to lose 1 to 2 seats. And based on the data that was received, New York State was slated to lose 1, meaning that we are going down to 26 congressional districts. I would just like to be able to show you kind of where congressional districts over the last essentially 50 to 60 years have been moving to across the country. The last time New York State was essentially at its peak was in 1951 at 45 congressional members. And as we're seeing, the rate of population increase is really trending towards the west as well as towards the southern states. Now, I would like to share with you just some information about a ballot measure that is also going to be Proposition 1 on the ballot this year. There's actually going to be 5 ballot measures. So I do encourage you to familiarize yourself with the language on the ballot measure. I can only speak for myself, but I know in past elections, I've gotten to the ballot, I've known or felt pretty confident about who I was voting for. And then I flipped the ballot over and I said, okay, well, what's this? I just wanted to just be able to make sure when you get to the ballot, it's not your first time seeing one of the ballot measures. So essentially it would read, this proposed constitutional amendment would freeze the number of state senators at 63, amend the process for the counting of the state's population, delete certain provisions that violate the United States Constitution, repeal and amend certain requirements for the appointment of the co-executive directors of the Redistricting Commission, and amend the manner of drawing district lines for congressional and state legislative offices. Shall the proposed amendment be approved? And on the right-hand side, the emboldened text is really just breaking down what that paragraph would do. One would be locking the number of state senators at 63. As I go on with the presentation, you'll see that since 2010, New York State has grown in about 800,000 people in population, according to the 2020 US Census data. What this would do was to ensure that regardless of how much more our population grows, that there would only be 63 state senators. It also would affirm that total population will be the basis for districts. So I know that, of course, under maybe last federal administration, there were a lot of concerns going around with the census of will non-citizens be excluded or will Native Americans be excluded? And this is to make sure that in future redistricting processes that New York State will continue to do what it has done in the last census rounds, which is utilizing total population. This will also handle or codify what New York State has also been doing regarding the reassignment of prison population, essentially for state prisons. Also, this would change the redistricting timeline. So as it was back in 2014, when the redistricting commission came about or was voted on, primary elections were in September. However, they've since moved to June. So since we don't actually have to provide maps, our next set of maps, after we get all of your lovely individuals' feedback to the legislature until January, there's a very tight timeline in order to go to the next steps, which is to actually get those maps passed and hopefully be able to be implemented for the 2022 primary election. As you know, many of you may have taken part in campaigns or just the political process in total, and understand that in February is usually when petitioning starts. People can't really petition in a district that they don't know what is going to be the confines of their district. What this would do would, for our timeline, it would move it up 2 weeks, requiring the current Independent Redistricting Commission to provide the maps by January 1st of 2022. So safe to say, I'll have a long New Year's. But then it will also make sure that in future redistricting cycles that the initial maps would actually have to be provided to the legislature by November 1st. So really moving up that process about 2 months. Also, this would eliminate a rule called block on border that has affected how the New York State Senate lines are drawn. However, I just would like to provide a disclaimer that I'm just sharing this information with you so you understand what is on the ballot, not telling you how to vote or what would be the best option for this. This is for you to be able to go back to your community and figure out the needs of your community. Now, back to that population that I promised, probably no surprise as Brooklynites, but 39 of 62 counties in New York State lost population, with Schoharie County having the largest population on loss. Now, 23 of 62 counties saw growth, with Kings County being the largest percentage of growth with 9.2%. Essentially, that was about an additional 600,000 people added just alone to the Brooklyn population. And then this here is showing a more county level data with percentage loss as well as to the raw data. What I will mention is that all of this information is available on the US Census Bureau's website, but it is something that we thought would be important to include in the presentation for you all. Now, as we also see New York City continuing to serve, basically going to a surplus, but now also Yonkers overtook Rochester as New York's third largest city. And so we're starting to see trends that more people are moving into our urban centers. Now, really the reason why I'm here is to get these numbers up. So I mentioned before about the public listening tour that took place in the summertime. Now, just how we were able to just talk about the numbers and Kings County being the largest borough or the largest county in New York State, the Kings County speaker list, it was actually paired with Richmond County. There was only 56 speakers. And when we look at written testimony, there was only about 111 pages of written testimony. It is so imperative that now that we actually have the maps out, now that we have been able to provide copies, which is available on our website, nyirc.gov, and I will be putting it in the chat for those that find it's easier to just click the link. There is a tab that is called Draft Maps, and I will share that just so you can at least be familiar with it, where you can actually layer current maps with the suggested maps to see what actually changed. Okay, great. So when you go to the website nyirc.gov, click on draft maps. Now, if you are on a computer or any device that can really take or has a lot of storage, you can actually download these maps and you'll get a color-coded breakdown of the maps as well as the data inside of them. I wouldn't suggest doing it from your phone because it'll probably slow the functions down. However, if you are using your phone or the computer, this tool right here, I find to be the most helpful. You have this legend over here. And for right now, I'll just highlight the congressional district boundaries. And this is only for New York State, so it's not going to be that helpful if you would like to look at other states. As you zoom in, you'll be able to see the current congressional district layout, and you'll actually be able to click on the map. And you see pops up the info or essentially what the population is, some of the information. Now, if you wanted to be able to layer it, or you wanted to look at one map on its own. One set of maps that were released was called the names map. You would have to click on it to be able to see the configuration. They didn't actually, none of the commissioners actually labeled them numbers as not to confuse you all, and really not to confuse themselves. And then, of course, we have the congressional letters maps as well. So you can really just use this feature to play around with different boundaries ahead of the hearing that we all are asking you to participate in. One thing that I will like to note is that you must, in order to participate or sign up in the hearing, you can participate virtually or you can participate at Medgar Evers College in person. I will note that the hearings start at 3 p.m., but at no means does that mean that if you're not available until 6 p.m., that you won't be able to testify. We encourage you to sign up to testify if you have any type of time constraint, because we imagine that, especially for our New York City hearings, that the time will go, or these presentations will go quite far or quite long. You will have 3 minutes to testify, and there will be 2 minutes available for questions and answers from the commissioners to the person testifying. If you, for some reason, are a little bit shy and don't want to testify in person or virtually, please submit written testimony. It's really important that even if you have a draft of a map that you'd like to see, if you like the lines, tell us that. If you hate the lines, tell us that. But as we move forward into the next process, which is making essentially the adjustments, the next step is sending that over to the legislature. And thank you so much for allowing me to speak today. And I'll turn it back over to Community Board 4.
Thank you, Isis. Any questions, board members?
I have a question. Yes, I pulled up the map. Thank you for sharing that link. I'm a little confused, the difference between the draft letters plan and the draft names plan. If you, maybe you said it and I missed it, but if you wouldn't mind just explaining that, because I'm just looking at the district boundaries right now.
Sure. So the commission put out 2 sets of maps, one being letters, the other being names, and really is just looking for the public to be able to respond to either both of them or whichever they prefer. Essentially, I know other states have put out some states have put out several maps. I know a lot of people were wondering why we didn't put out one set of maps, but I think that the commissioners thought that they didn't really want to make concessions behind closed doors, as opposed to just showing the public which maps they came up with and allow the public to be able to decide, what do they believe more intimately responds to the needs of their community.
So is there if maybe, could you explain just a little, what does letters mean? What does names mean in that?
Oh, so it has no behind the scenes meaning. It's just what the actual coding of the map is. So for instance, when you go to one part of the map and you download the data, it'll correspond with A as that map, or it may say like, pin border would be the names map.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Jose?
Good evening, everybody. And I think the critical thing is to look at the maps, and especially for CD4, for congressional, state, and city council, there's some change that I think is going to affect all of us. and I invite all the board members to play with that. And I think Celeste, maybe we can have a way that we can explain a little bit more in detail later on how to read the map. Because it's a little confusing, but it's critical. I think there are some changes that it's going to affect. I guess my question to you is, and thank you so much for presenting tonight, by the way, is I believe in the past there was a hearing just for Kings County. Did I hear you right that there's going to be only a hearing for New York City at this point, or there's going to be one for Kings County as well?
Thank you so much for your question, Jose. I just shared my screen to be able to show all of the hearings. So there will be a hearing in each county. So it'll be a hearing in 14 regions across New York State. The Buffalo one already took place today. We have Rochester tomorrow. But in respect to New York City, we're doing it in every county in New York City. So we have one in Bronx County, New York County, Richmond County, Kings County, and Queens County. Our Kings County is going to be at Medgar Evers College on Tuesday, November 16th at 3 p.m. All of our New York City and White Plains hearing is starting at 3 p.m. because we anticipate that there will be a higher demand of people hoping to testify. And you can participate in that hearing either in person or virtually, but you have to sign up before 48 hours. So essentially, the latest you can sign up is Sunday, November 14th. So if you are interested, it's better to, even if you want to go online right now and sign up and then figure out what you wanted to say, but because you can always withdraw.
Thank you.
Just a reminder, folks, we know that everyone's very busy and sometimes you may be in noisy areas. Please be mindful whenever there's background noise because we can absolutely hear it. Any other questions, board members? All right, Isis, if you don't mind stopping to share your screen just so I can check to see if there are any other questions from folks in the chat. All right, seeing none. Last call. Any questions? And I understand there are a few board members that aren't panelists yet. I'm multitasking right now. If you have a question, please just bear with me. You can drop it in the chat. I'm trying to add everyone and keep us moving along. So we'll go ahead.
You're doing a nice job. You're the best computer. I don't know how you're doing it, but
thank you so much. So Isis, thank you for joining us this evening. Since I don't hear anything else, we'll go ahead and we'll wrap up. Should we miss a question this evening, I'll happily pass it along and make sure we get a response in case anyone has additional questions.
Great, thank you. And thank you to Community Board 4 for allowing me to present.
Thank you so much.
All right, moving on to the Department of Health. I know we have Nicole Anderson. Nicole, you there?
Yes, I am here. Hello.
Perfect.
All right, I am going to share my screen so you can see my slides. One moment. Let's see. Can you see my slide?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, let's see.
no, we see you.
You see me. All right, let's see what's going on here.
There we go.
All right, just make it bigger. All right. So hi everyone. Thanks for having me today. I'm really excited to join your meeting. My name is Nicole Anderson, and I'm the Senior Manager of the Nutrition Incentives Portfolio here at the New York City Health Department. And I'm really excited to join your conversation today to tell you a little bit about our nutrition incentive programs. So the Health Department's nutrition incentive programs work to address inequitable access to fruits and vegetables by helping make produce more affordable. Given the extraordinary levels of food insecurity currently in New York City, exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic, we understand that New Yorkers want to put nutritious food on the table, but may not always have the resources to do so. Our nutrition incentive programs provide people with money to buy fruits and vegetables, helping address the cost barrier to eating more nutritious food, specifically fruits, vegetables, and beans. Our programs are funded by city dollars and 2 grants from the USDA. And we seek to help make fruits and vegetables more affordable for community members with lower incomes through our programming. And combined, our incentive programs reach tens of thousands of New Yorkers and distribute more than $2 million worth of produce each year. So today I'm going to talk about our 3 main programs, which are Healthbox, which are at farmers markets, Get the Good Stuff at supermarkets, and half off Farmbox, which is at food box and farm share sites across New York City. So to start, Healthbox are $2 coupons that can be used to buy fresh fruits and vegetables at all New York City farmers markets. The Healthbox program aims to make fresh produce more affordable and to support farmers markets, which are important access points for fresh, locally grown fruits and vegetables. Currently, there are over 130 farmers markets in New York City, many operating year-round. The Healthbox program launched in the South Bronx in 2005 and has expanded to be the largest city-run fruit and vegetable incentive program in the nation. Last year, in 2020, over 640,000 Healthbox worth more than $1.2 million were distributed. And to locate a farmer's market near you, you can visit the Healthbox webpage, which I'll put in the chat a little bit later, or go to nyc.gov and search for Healthbox, or text So Good to 877-877. So Healthbox are distributed a few different ways, including one at New York City farmers markets as a SNAP incentive, 2 by community and faith-based organizations through their nutrition and health programming, and 3 by organizations and elected officials that purchase Healthbox. And I'll go into a little bit more detail right now about each of those methods. So community members who participate in SNAP, also known as food stamps, can get Healthbox when they shop at New York City farmers markets using their SNAP benefits on an EBT card. So for every $2 spent using SNAP at New York City farmers markets, shoppers get $2 in Healthbox, up to $10 in Healthbox per day. This incentive level is actually new this year. Previously, shoppers had to spend $5 to get $2 in Healthbox. And under the old incentive model, customers would have had to spend $25 in SNAP to get $10 in Healthbox. And under our new 2-for-2 model, customers spend 10 in SNAP and get 10 in Healthbox, doubling their spending power at markets. And then just to give a sense of scale, like I mentioned, last year we distributed over $640,000 worth of Healthbox through the Healthbox SNAP incentive. So we also give Healthbox to hundreds of local community and faith-based organizations to distribute to their communities every summer and fall. We do this through releasing an application for Healthbox and inviting organizations that serve New Yorkers with low incomes to fill it out. Approved organizations get a limited number of Healthbox to hand out, along with farmers market maps and postcards explaining the Healthbox SNAP incentive. This distribution method helps promote farmers markets and the Healthbox SNAP incentive. It's also a way to reach people who may not be able to access the Healthbox SNAP incentive because they do not participate in SNAP due to documentation status or an income above the eligibility threshold. Each year, about 500 organizations distribute Healthbox through their nutrition and health programming. And more than $225,000 worth of Healthbox were distributed by community-based organizations last year. Lastly, elected officials, not-for-profit organizations, and for-profit companies can purchase Healthbox to distribute to community members. This is a really great option for community organizations that want more Healthbox than we're able to provide for free, and for for-profit organizations that aren't eligible for free Healthbox through the application. In recent years, local elected officials have purchased Healthbox to distribute to constituents to increase access to fresh, locally grown produce and to support local farmers markets. Last year, 5 local leaders purchased over $100,000 worth of Healthbox. So people love Healthbox, and we're committed to continuing to support the program so that all New Yorkers can access fresh, locally grown fruits and vegetables, and so that farmers markets thrive in New York City. At the same time, we recognize that a small percentage of New Yorkers with SNAP actually shop at farmers markets and utilize the program. In an effort to reach more New Yorkers by meeting them where they are, we launched Get the Good Stuff, New York City's first supermarket-based SNAP incentive program in 2019. Through Get the Good Stuff, for every $1 spent on eligible fruits, vegetables, and beans using SNAP, shoppers get $1 on their pink Get the Good Stuff card, up to $10 per day, to buy more eligible food next time they are at the supermarket. Eligible foods include fresh fruits, vegetables, and herbs, frozen, canned, and jarred fruits, vegetables, and beans without any added sugar, salt, or fat, and dried beans, lentils, and fruits without any added sugar, salt, or fat. Shoppers can sign up for the program at a participating supermarket's customer service desk and get a pink card. This is a picture of the pink card right there. And to get money on the pink card, participants shop for eligible fruits, vegetables, and beans. And then at the register, they scan their pink card before paying with their EBT card. The store's computer system calculates the amount spent on eligible fruits and vegetables and adds that amount to the pink card, up to $10 per day. If a customer spends $5 in SNAP on eligible fruits, vegetables, and beans, they get $5 on their pink card. If they spend $10, they get $10. Then to spend the money on the pink card, customers just have to scan their card next time they're at the store and tell the cashier they want to use the money on the pink card to pay for their eligible purchases. Money on the pink card gets deducted and applied to the purchase. So far, over 8,500 community members have signed up for the program and redeemed more than $1.5 million in fruit and vegetable incentives. Currently, 6 supermarkets offer the program, including 4 in the Bronx, 1 in Brooklyn, and 1 in Queens. The stores are all located in New York City zip codes where 20% or more of the population live below the federal poverty level. Now we're planning to expand the program to 18 more supermarkets next year for a total of 24 stores. We're going to issue an RFP in the next few months to identify stores to participate in that expansion. And to be eligible, stores will have to be located in a neighborhood identified as a priority by New York City's Task Force on Racial Inclusion and Equity due to high COVID-19 mortality and case rates, high prevalence of chronic illness, and a large number of individuals experiencing poverty and pre-existing health conditions. Stores will also have to use an electronic point of sale system and contract with a POS vendor willing to work with us on the incentive program. And then we're also looking for stores that sell a wide selection of fruits and vegetables and have high SNAP sales in order to maximize program reach and make sure we're partnering with stores that New Yorkers with SNAP want to shop at. And here are a couple of quotes from program participants. I'll just pause for a moment so that everyone has a chance to read them. Our third incentive program launched this past summer and is called Half Off Farmbox. We are partnering with Foodbox and farm share operators citywide to offer a 50% discount on pre-assembled boxes of locally and regionally grown produce for customers paying with SNAP benefits. Farm boxes are pre-assembled boxes of fresh produce procured from local and regional farmers. Each box typically contains 6 to 10 items of fresh, high-quality produce, and they must be pre-ordered 1 week in advance. The cost of each box varies by site, but typically is around $5 to $10 with the with the 50% discount. We encourage New Yorkers to visit a site near them to find out more. And to get the half off Farmbox discount, community members with SNAP should visit a participating half off Farmbox site, which I'll share a list of the sites in just a moment. And then when they're at a Farmbox site, they can order a box to pick up the following week and pay with their SNAP benefits to get the half off discount. Participants should then return to the site the following week at the designated date and time and pick up their box of fresh farm produce. And at that time, they could order a box for the following week if they wish and get that same 50% discount as long as they're paying with SNAP. Currently, we are partnered with 3 organizations that operate 12 Farmbox sites citywide. We are in touch with several more organizations that operate food box sites and farm shares and hope to offer the discount at their sites in the coming months. So we're really hoping to expand this list over the next few months or the next year as the program continues to grow. So these are our Manhattan and Staten Island sites. And that brings me to how your community board can get involved. We would really love if you could help spread the word about the Healthbox SNAP incentive, about Get the Good Stuff, and half off Farmbox. I am happy to share electronic or printed materials, including farmers market maps, palm cards describing the Healthbox SNAP incentive, and a flyer with a list of stores participating in Get the Good Stuff and information about how the program works. You could also encourage local community and faith-based organizations to apply for free Healthbox to distribute through their nutrition and health programming. And you can encourage local leaders to purchase Healthbox and distribute them to constituents. We're not taking any more requests this year for Healthbox through that CBO application or for purchases, but more Healthbox will be available next year. And we'll issue the application for CBO Healthbox in spring 2022. And start distributing coupons in July 2022. And then local elected officials will be able to use their FY23 funds to purchase Healthbox beginning next summer. And that's all I have. Thanks again for inviting me today. And I'd love to take questions if there's time.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nicole. And just a quick note, so I know I've had some issues making board members panelists. So if you're not a panelist, I have made you just have the option to be able to speak. So I'm not sure what the problem is with that, but just for the board members who aren't panelists, you should have the option to speak at this point. I will be reviewing the attendance list throughout the meeting. But now we'll go to questions for the Department of Health. Any questions, board members?
Hi, my name is Hadia. I do have a question. Perhaps you may have already explained this, but I may have missed. Outside of the 50% discount for the Farmbox, what would be the incentive for, say, a SNAP recipient to utilize the Healthbox? I understand there now is a 1-to-1 ratio where however much your stamps are worth, you get that in equal amounts, but you can just shop produce at whatever grocery store existing. Like what is the incentive? Like how is this like what's different? I didn't get that.
Sure. So the Healthbox program aims to make fresh, locally grown produce that is sold at local farmers markets more affordable. And so for every $2 spent in SNAP at New York City farmers markets, shoppers get $2 in Healthbox, up to $10 per day. So we're really trying to make farmers markets the produce sold at farmers markets more affordable so that all New Yorkers can access it.
Okay, so for somebody with a large family and they may need to spend more than $10 a day, do they have that option, or they just have to show up to the farmer market locations every day?
They can spend however much they want on using their SNAP benefits. We will provide that 2-for-2 match up to $10 per day.
Okay.
They could spend $20 in their SNAP benefits and get $10 in Healthbox and have a total of $30 to spend at the market.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
All right, Carlotta and Ann.
I noticed the supermarkets. The one is all the way over in Fort Hamilton, the Brooklyn one. Is there anything local?
Right now, the program is at 6 supermarkets. We've recently received 2 grants to expand the grocery store program. And so we're working on that right now. We're actually drafting a request for proposals that we're going to issue hopefully before the end of the year to select new supermarkets to offer the program. So we're really hoping to expand the program's footprint in Brooklyn, because we know with just one store, that's not enough.
Okay, another question. There used to be a farmer's market on Graham and Cook. What happened to that?
I do not
Right
know
there in
offhand.
Williamsburg by Woodhull.
East Williamsburg, yes.
Yeah.
I do know that some markets did not open last year due to the pandemic. I'm not sure. I think some of those markets have stayed closed, some have reopened, but I'm not sure what happened with that specific market.
Last question. What happens if you don't have SNAP and you need to buy some of these fresh fruits and veg? Because not everyone who has SNAP don't have money.
Yeah, I hear that. All of the funding that we receive through the USDA is for people with SNAP benefits, and that's why our programs are targeting that population. Unfortunately, at this time, our incentive programs, for the most part, don't really reach New Yorkers who don't have SNAP. We do distribute Healthbox through the community-based organization model, and that's where community organizations, faith-based organizations can apply for a limited number of Healthbox and distribute them to anyone who accesses their services. And so someone without SNAP could certainly access Healthbox that way. But most of our programs are structured around SNAP benefits because that's where our funding comes from and what it supports.
Because that was my question, to get SNAP. It's hard to get SNAP. If you make $1 too much, you can't get SNAP. So it's hard for a lot of people to get SNAP.
Yeah, I hear that. We often hear that people who could really benefit from SNAP benefits don't meet the income threshold because it is so low.
I have Anne, then Joanna.
Sure. Ms. Williams actually asked one of my questions. We have a very large community of folks that do not have documentation or who are not aware that maybe they can get SNAP if they have kids born here. So that's a huge issue. And I guess the second question would be, what is the outreach to supermarkets? Because there are a couple supermarkets in this community who do serve, actually all the supermarkets, but what is the outreach to them? And what is, when you say it's an RFP, a request for proposals, I am guessing that they are getting some benefit from participating in this too. And then the third question would be, are mutual aid organizations, or for a community-based organization, do you have to have a 501c3, or there's so many church groups in this community and mutual aid groups who might not be 501c3, who could do incredible work in getting those Healthbox out into the community?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for those questions. To your first question, I think about how we are going to promote the supermarket RFP and disseminate it. It would be really great if you happen to have the email contact information and email addresses for the stores in your community. I will be sure to send it to them when it's available. We're really trying to get the word out about the proposals through various presentations, including to supermarket groups, through point of sales vendors that we've worked with in the past, and just through a variety of connections that we have. But I will take any supermarket contact information you have. We want to get it out to as many stores as possible. As far as the benefit to the store, I think the benefit is that, we've heard just anecdotally from stores that
I'm on the community board and I'm supposed to be going.
That their produce sales have increased and that their less produce goes to waste because I think more people are buying it. And so, for every $1 that is redeemed on fresh or on fruits and vegetables at the store through the incentive program, the store gets reimbursed. So we're hoping the program is increasing sales and are trying to measure that as well as the program goes on. And then as far as distributing Healthbox to organizations that are not 501c3s, in the past, we've always stuck with not-for-profits that are 501c3 organizations. But it sounds like something maybe we need to revisit because it sounds like there could be, okay, it's a good way to get them out to, through mutual aid organizations, you said?
There are multiple mutual aid organizations in the community and multiple churches in the community, all of whom have food programs, maybe not as formal as a CBO, but are doing and have been doing, especially during the pandemic, a lot of this work. So I think that would, if that would be a very helpful thing if you guys can follow up on that and figure out, just because nobody's incorporated as a 501c3, maybe there are other avenues to getting.
Thank you for that. Yeah, thank you for that. We'll explore it more and circle back.
Joanna?
Yes, thank you. Sounds like a great program. And I don't see how you could possibly have missed the Brooklyn Borough President's Office, which has a farmer's market right downtown. It would seem to go all the way to Fort Hamilton and not have connected with the Brooklyn Borough President's Office. It seems like a big, I hope that you plan to tap into that. And they've been existing for a while, and people can come down there. There's the courthouses, they come down there for shopping. It's a great place. And I'm guessing that Antonio Reynoso, who will probably become the next Brooklyn Borough President, would love to continue that program and even help expand it if necessary. My other thing is I'm listening to about the SNAP program, which is great, but it seems to me that there needs to be some recalculation in eligibility. Everybody is hearing on the news how the price of everything is going up, period. And for people who have SNAP, they're pretty much covered for a lot of stuff. But for the everyday person who's maybe working and not making a lot of money, those are the people who really need, who can't afford to buy groceries anymore. And it seems as though the people that you're covering are already benefiting from the people who are working and paying taxes, and that the people who are working and paying taxes are being left out in the cold once again. We keep falling through the cracks. And it really, and it's common knowledge. You go to the supermarket today and things are not going up by a nickel or a dime. They're increasing by 50 cents, $1 and more. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be another group of people who are working people who are going to be eating the very things that you don't want them to eat, unhealthy food. Very and I true. Think you really need to do some sort of recalculation to determine your eligibility. This is not, I don't work for MSNBC, but I know just by being a consumer, how the prices are going up on everything. And this is going to really hurt people. And your program is letting a lot of people fall through this safety net. I'm sure that's what this is about, to provide a safety net to help people stay alive and healthy. So those are my comments. And sounds like a great program, but I've already expressed my concerns and I appreciate the presentation.
Barbara?
Thank you.
Barbara Jackson, you have another question? All right, we'll come back. I do have a question in the chat. I think this is going off of Anne's question as well. How do faith-based organizations obtain Healthbox? So I don't know if there's a process for them to do that now.
So faith-based organizations can reach out to me. I can put my email address in the chat. And we will send them the application for Healthbox next spring when we release it again. We've already given out all of our 2021 Healthbox. So we're out of the CBO Healthbox this year. We're continuing to distribute them at farmers markets, but we're out of the ones that go to community and faith-based organizations. But next year we will distribute them again and we will release the application in spring 2022. So I'm happy to send it to anyone. If you could just share, they could just share their email address and contact information.
All right, Barbara.
No, go ahead, forget it. I can't get on.
We can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes, we can.
The difference, I think the farmers market that's downtown is not the same thing that she's talking about, because during the year we get once a year we get coupons that we can use at the farmer's market, like on Knickerbocker or the Myrtle Avenue. So I think it's two different farmers markets that she's referring to.
Just to clarify, I believe the farmers market in downtown Brooklyn is, I think that's Brooklyn Borough Hall, if I'm remembering correctly.
That's what I'm saying. We get coupons.
Yeah.
You get like 5 $4 coupons in the book. So you get
So
like
so our program is actually at the Brooklyn Borough Hall.
Right,
Sorry.
you can't use them in the store. So they're different than your farmer's market. Okay.
Could you people please shut your phones off because we can't hear? Have a little respect, thank you.
So just to clarify, just about all 130 or so farmers markets in New York City distribute Healthbox through the SNAP incentive program. That's where for every $2 you spend at the market on an EBT card, you get $2 in Healthbox, up to $10 in Healthbox per day. So those Healthbox are available at the market when people swipe their EBT card. And I think the program you're talking about might be the Farmers Market Nutrition Program. Those checks are distributed in booklets and they go to, I think directly to people, to community members, but those are just to spend at the market, where ours you get when you make an EBT purchase, you'll get Healthbox. So the programs are a little bit different, which can be kind of confusing, but they overlap and they're all redeemable at these same farmers markets.
All right, everyone. So we have other items on the agenda this evening. I'm going to have to cut off our Q&A there. Thank you so much, Nicole. If there are any outstanding questions, board members, public, feel free to drop them in the chat or the Q&A. I will happily pass them along. Thank you so much, Nicole.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll move on now. Harold, are you there? Harold Miller?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, go for it.
All right. Hi, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I'm Harold Miller. I am the Deputy Executive Director for the Racial Justice Commission, and I appreciate the opportunity to come to the board this evening to give an update to you about the work, what the commission is doing. And I'm going to share my screen and run through a presentation. I know you're having a busy night, a lot of interesting items being talked about. All right, so the Racial Justice Commission is a charter revision commission that was formed back in March of this year by the mayor. The commission is empowered to, to look at racial inequity that exists in city government and to use the power of the charter to start to root that out. And so the mayor appointed 11 commissioners to this board, including Jennifer Jones-Austin, who is the chair. She is the CEO of the Protestant Welfare Agencies, as well as our vice chair is Executive Director of DC 37, Henry Garrido. And they began meeting back in April this year. Some of the other commission members include Kay Bain, Anna Bermudez, Reverend Fred Davey, Lori Daniel Favors, Derek Hamilton, Chris Q, Yasinia Mata, Phil Thompson, and Joanne Yu. For those who may not know, the charter is our city's constitution. It sets out the structures, powers, and responsibilities of New York City government. It creates political offices and agencies, and it tells them what to do, what duties they have, what powers they have, what's the process they must act out their duties, and how to include New Yorkers in that process, whether it be public participation, via community boards, voting, etc. So the charter revision process itself conducts a comprehensive review of the charter, reports on the findings, recommend proposals to amend the charter, draft those amendments for voters to consider. The commission may also invite New Yorkers and experts to share their experiences and ideas, which we have been doing. Our mission is to empower with the legal authority of the Charter Revision Commission. Will seize the transformative potential of this moment in history to identify and propose structural changes and significant policy reforms that will advance racial justice and equity and begin to dismantle structural racism for all New Yorkers. This work is necessary because systematic racism has been and continues to shape our reality. Our vision for racial equity is the worth, talents, and contributions of all people in society are valued and recognized. Race is not a determinant of economic, political, social, or physiological outcomes, as it neither confers privilege or nor denies opportunities. And then we define structural systematic racism as an embedded in structural institutions and cultural norms and conditions designed to upheld to deny power, access, and opportunity to Black, Indigenous, and people of color in order to maintain an inequitable society that is structured to advantage whiteness. Our framework is looking at the structural, the foundations and laws, values that set up power, access, and opportunity. The institutional and cultural is the policy, practices, and decision-making embedded in the day-to-day workings of agencies is where we're looking at. And then we talk about the instruments of racism being power, access, and opportunity. Power, the ability to make and influence decisions that impact people's lives and define which decisions are prioritized. Access, the ability to procure and benefit from services and resources and capital. And opportunity, the ability to take meaningful advantage of power and access to achieve prosperity. So our mission supporting this methodology is creating the capacity, the readiness to engage, participate, and take advantage of opportunity, access, and power. And then for us, we want to make sure ensuring accountability is the systematic institutional mechanisms of accountability that ensures changes are made effectively and meaningfully and affect consequences if they're not. So we want to make sure we have real accountability measures in place. So our timeline is that the commission meetings began in April. In July, we began our public engagement. We were in Brooklyn back in August for our public input sessions. We released our interim report, which I'll talk about in a second, back on October 7th. And right now we're in the middle of our second phase of public engagement, where I'm coming to you as well as other community boards throughout the city. In December, we're gonna release a final report, submit ballot questions for voters to vote on for not this November, but for November of 2022. So our public engagement process took a couple of different tracks. Track number one, we brought in experts around the city and had what's called issue area panel sessions. As you see on the screen here, we had discussions around health and mental health, education, housing, planning for racial equitable future, economic and closing the wealth gap, early foundations, making sure that we set forth policies that benefit our youngest New Yorkers, fair and just legal system, civic and political participation for all people. And then we talked about intersectionality, making sure that we have cross identities, aligning our efforts to make sure that we seek equity. And you can watch all those panel discussions on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/NYC Racial Justice Commission, as well as our public input sessions that I mentioned just now, where we heard from the public directly. We did all 5 boroughs back during the summertime, during the months of July, August into September. We're going to come back again with another round of public input sessions, with this time with some questions to ask the public based on what we found in our interim report. We're going to be at the Brooklyn Museum on November 8th. And so I'll definitely send information to folks at the community board office so they could distribute to all of you. So some of the themes that we heard from the public engagement process, I'm not going to go through each of them, but just highlight some: budget justice, measurement of disparate impacts and remedy disparities, and race neutral decision making, making sure that we prioritization of racial equity in city decision making, and securing early foundations are some of what we heard. But you can see here that New Yorkers gave us a lot to think about and a lot to consider. And so we took that information and created an interim staff report. The goals of the staff report was to compile what we have heard from the public to date, outline what we identify as 6 patterns of inequity and identified during this first phase of the public engagement process. And then we talked about what's ahead for the commission in the upcoming months. And then you go on our website, nyc.gov/racial justice, to get a copy of the report. I'll send you a link to the report itself in a few seconds. But want to touch base about the 6 patterns in inequity. So the 6 patterns that we identified is the inequity of quality services that promote social and emotional well-being. Second, the inequity in work, advancement, and wealth building. Third, inequity within and across neighborhoods that inhibit thriving individuals, families, and communities. Fourth, the marginalization and overcriminalization of BIPOC, that's basic people of color, and persons and communities. 5, the inequity and representation in decision making. And number 6, enforcement and accountability of government entities. So we're asking New Yorkers to consider a couple of questions here. How has this pattern of inequity impacted you and your community? You can choose any of the 6 of the inequities. Who needs to be involved to address this pattern of inequity? This could include city agencies, elected officials, city staff, whatever you feel is the appropriate persons that should address the inequity. And then what is your vision for a New York City where patterns of inequity does not exist? What would the city look like? How should the players you identify act differently? So those are things we are asking New Yorkers, along with several other questions that you'll see on our website. And it's important for us that we do get your input, we do get your consideration, because that will help us shape what the ballot proposals will be for you to consider to vote for. And our goal is to make sure that we know that we're not going to solve racism in one charter revision commission. However, we want to make sure that we actually leverage the charter to root out structural inequities that the charter has supported for decades or centuries. And so we are hard at work to identify where we can leverage the city laws to do that. And we are looking to move big and bold structural change to make our city a more equitable place. And so our next steps, as I talked a little bit about with you, is that we have our report out now. We're right now in our next phase of engagement, along with our team hard at work doing the research and legal checks to see what we can present to the public. And then we're going to present the ballot proposals with our final report, showing our research and rationale, and then also a racial justice roadmap, showing that though we may not be able to resolve everything in our ballot proposals, we're going to want to present ideas for New Yorkers to consider, particularly those who legislate in our state and federal government houses, and making sure we give them and identify things that the state can do to close the racial equity gaps that exist here in New York, as well as our federal government. And so, we want to spread the word. You can always get updates about what the commission is doing by checking out our website, nyc.gov/racial justice. If you have questions that you want to email us to, you can email it to our racial justice email box. That's racialjustice@charter.nyc.gov. And I'll put my direct email in the chat as well. And you can also follow us on social media to get real-time updates. at Racial Justice NY on Twitter, as well as Racial Justice NYC on Instagram and Facebook, assuming those two platforms are working. And then also you go watch anything Racial Justice Commission on our YouTube channel, whether it be our public input sessions, the commission meetings themselves, or the expert panels that I talked about earlier on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Racial Justice Commission. So I'll take any questions. I'll leave the patterns and equities up unless I want to unshare my screen. Just let me know.
Thank you, Harold. Questions from the board? I see Mr. Camacho followed by Desmond. And just a quick update for those on the phone, remember *9. You can raise your hand to ask a question with *9 for those on the phone and *6 to unmute. Just a reminder. Desmond? Or Mr. Camacho, did you have something? You lowered your hand.
No, I lowered because that was before, but you shut me off. It's okay.
Oh, sorry about that. Desmond?
I guess here's my question, right? Because there have been tons of disparity studies that they've done. We did the Where We Live project to try to figure out all these racial disparities within law enforcement, procurement, definitely contracting. If you look at the check system, we realized that minorities and women make up 60% of the population in New York City, but yet we are 1% of government contracting. So that information is out there. However, there hasn't been any compliance to hold these actors accountable. So this is just like another commission studying the same data. What is different about this? It's actually going to have some teeth and make things move, especially when it's under an outgoing administration. We have no idea how Eric Adams is going to pick up the same thing. So how can we guarantee that this is going to come to fruition, especially under a new mayor?
No, that's a great question. And the difference is the fact that you'll be able to vote on the proposals that set forth, and what will be voted on will become law. So the work is making sure that we have proposals in place that can actually close the inequity gaps that you laid out. That's in our report that we all well know. These inequities that I'm stating here are nothing new. We'll never pretend that what we're talking about is brand new. What is different though is the fact that we have an opportunity to set forth proposals for voters to vote on to do something about it and to actually have accountability measures in place with some teeth. And so that's the work ahead for us to achieve that. We're still soliciting input, and so where people have ideas of what policy ideas that they may have, or just what solutions you may think the city should consider, we are listening. Our team is synthesizing all that information, and what we want to present to you come December is a set of ballot proposals that will achieve closing the gap. Like I said, we know we're not naive to know that we're not going to end racism with one charter commission, but what we want to do is actually use this opportunity to take significant chunks out of racial inequity that are so rooted into city government, and actually do something that has some structural change to it. But I will stress that it will work with the input and the feedback that we get from fellow New Yorkers, because ultimately what we put forth, we want New Yorkers to support it so it could be enacted into law, and then we actually can see some progress.
Even on the city agency side, because as a city agency, let's say if I needed more, like if I went to HPD or I went to another agency that was doing procurement, I necessarily don't have to have voters vote on what my policies are in-house. I can say, hey, this is our diversity and inclusion markers. I need you guys to do that. And here's the compliance behind that. You lose your jobs, you lose your contract. Like, are those kind of things being put in place and proposed?
Well, that everything's still on the table of what we will propose to voters. But to your point, yes, I mean, a lot of what could have happened should have happened, over many years, not just in this administration, but prior administrations. And what we're saying is that we actually want to take something directly to voters. It's not going to go through the sausage making of the mayor's office and the city council. but, you know, as an independent commission, being able to put something forth to voters that will have real accountability measures to close the inequity gaps. So that's what we're working to achieve here.
All right, Jose is next.
Thank you. Just have a question. I'm looking at the patterns, right? And I'm just curious to know what are the findings about the inequality when it comes to environmental justice. We know that Bushwick, which is a community of color, has one of the highest burdens when it comes to environmental justice, right? We have a lot of truck traffic, a lot of heavy industrial in our community, pollution. So I'm just curious to hear what do you guys see when it comes to environmental justice for communities of color?
Oh, that's a great question. And, you know, something that we have heard a lot during our public input process. And, you know, the way that we kind of written out these 6 patterns in inequity, center around kind of being broad as possible to encompass a lot of it. So you will see the inequities within and across neighborhoods that inhibits thriving individuals, families, and communities. It's kind of that touch point, you know, where we have communities, particularly communities of color, that has a heavier burden on, you know, environmental injustice than others. And so, you know, environmental racism is real and exists. And Bushwick is an example of that historically. And what we want to achieve with the number 3 inequity bucket that we laid out is to talk about that, you know, and to talk about how, you know, we are looking into what can the city do to make sure that we have a thriving community, and thriving also includes, you know, a healthy, environmentally safe community as well.
All right, I don't see any other questions. Last call. We do have one more public hearing item. I don't see anything in the Q&A or the chat. So thank you so much, Harold. Please keep us posted and we'll absolutely pass along the information.
Thank you again for this opportunity. Great questions. I appreciate it, and look forward to coming back again. And I'll put my information in the chat right now. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Omar, are you ready? Oh, one moment. All right, you should be able to unmute now, Omar, and share your screen.
Hello, good evening.
All right.
Hey, everyone. Good evening. Thanks for having me back. I believe I was last here in the spring to speak about the ranked choice voting, and that's a very relevant topic this time around. We have some ballot proposals that are on the ballot November 2nd that I'm going to talk about. And if you remember, ranked choice voting also came into effect through a ballot proposal. And in addition to some other important offices. So my name, let me introduce myself formally. My name is Omar Suarez. I'm with the New York City Campaign Finance Board. We're NYC Votes Initiative. So we are a city agency that oversees the public matching funds program. But we also have voter education and voter engagement initiative. So I'm here to speak about the upcoming election and make sure people have all the information they need to participate and know exactly what it is that's going to be on the ballot. So if I can share my screen, just to talk about voting in NYC 2021. As you all know, this November 2nd, we have major citywide elections impacting everything from the mayor on down to some local judgeships. We have all the major offices: mayor, public advocate, comptroller, borough president, city council. In your neck of the woods, there's a district attorney race in Brooklyn as well as Manhattan. There's also judgeships and court positions in different districts throughout the city, and statewide ballot proposals. That's what I'm going to focus most of my attention on because that's something that's going to be new. We didn't have this in June. So these ballot proposals, they're at the state level and they're going through a constitutional amendment process. The state reps, they pass these things in 2 consecutive terms, and then they need to go to the voters to get a yes or no vote. If they get a yes, if majority of voters say yes, then the change will take effect. Otherwise, it will not. And we have 5 this time. They're going to be on the back of your ballot. So when you go and vote, you have to turn the ballot over to see these. This time, I'm going to start with the first one. The first is the longest and most complicated one. And I'll be available to answer any questions. I'll try to get through the presentation as quickly as possible to leave time for a Q&A. I'm not going to read the text. I will point you to where you can read the text at any given time on our website, but I'll just go into the plain language. This proposal number 1 is about the redistricting process. Every 10 years, we have a census, we get new population numbers, and we have to redraw all the maps for Congress, state Senate, state Assembly. This is a very important process. This determines who we are electing, what district we live in, who our elected representatives are, and how well represented we are as voters. So this would do a couple of things. It keeps the number of state senators at 63. It would require that we count in New York, we count everyone who is living in the city, in the state, regardless of if they're a citizen or not, that they are counted as part of the census and for their districting process. And it also requires that people who are incarcerated are counted where they last lived in their community, not where they are imprisoned. Some of you may know the background information that many times people from New York City are imprisoned, and those prisons tend to be in other parts of the state. And so that balance of power would shift towards other parts of the states. And so that's the reasoning behind that rule. The timeline for approving these maps would shift into earlier in the process. We have elections in the year ending in 2 always. And those are midterm elections, state elections. And so they want to move this process up so that those maps are finalized in time, so people know what district they're voting in, so people know what district they live in, what district they're running for, and all of that to have that sense of clarity. And also, finally, it would create a simple majority to approve, to appoint people to the commission that does the maps, and also to approve the maps. It would simplify that entire process to be a simple majority, as opposed to what it is now, which is more of a bipartisan process, meaning you need to have approval across party lines. So that's the first one, is the most complicated one. And I'll point you towards where you can get more information moving forward, and I'm here to answer any questions. The second one touches on, actually, I was here listening to the earlier presentation about environmental justice. So this would create a right to clean air, clean water, and a healthful environment in the New York State Constitution Bill of Rights. So right now, we do have a Bill of Rights, but there's nothing in there about environmental clean environment. It would create a new individual right to a healthy environment. And it means that individual New Yorkers could sue if they feel like that right is being violated or not being met, if government is not taking that into consideration when they're passing laws, when they're making decisions. And so this would create a new right to a healthy environment, proposal number 2. Proposal number 3 and number 4 are both about voting. Number 3 would be for same-day voter registration. Right now, we cannot have same-day voter registration because the Constitution says you need to be registered 10 days before the election. It would take that 10-day limit out, and the state would then need to pass. They would need to still do one more step, but this would be a crucial step to getting same-day voter registration. They are right now, if you just, let's say, found out about an election and you weren't registered for whatever reason, and it's happening in a week, you can't vote, even though otherwise you would be eligible if you hadn't registered. So this would make it so if you just found out, you could vote in an election on this and register on the same day. 20 other states and Washington, D.C. allow same-day voter registration right now, for context. The fourth one is no excuse absentee voting. What this does is, right now, if you want to vote by mail, you need to have an excuse. Either you're going to be absent, you are physically ill, or you're physically disabled from voting. This would take that requirement out and then allow the state legislature to pass no excuse absentee voting. Right now, we are one of 16 states that still requires an excuse. All other states either let you vote absentee without any excuse, or they have all mail voting. The fifth one is about this court system. So they would increase the threshold for the civil court from 25,000 or less up to 50,000. That number has not been increased since 1983. There's been a lot of inflation. And also this would help with the backlog in the Supreme Court that has built up over the pandemic. That's the reasoning that people are giving for it, just to provide that context. In any of these cases, we're just sharing the information. You make up your own mind, of course. We don't push one side or the other. I'm just trying to provide context. So that's the 5 ballot proposals. I will just touch on a reminder of some of the key things you need to know for voting. The key dates. The voter registration deadline has passed already. That was October 8th. If you want to vote absentee, the online deadline was this Monday. If you want to vote absentee, you have to request it in person by November 1st. You have to go to the Board of Elections and request your absentee ballot by November 1st. Now, there is a process to do it online, but that deadline is October 18th. And any absentee vote, any absentee ballot, you have to submit it. Either you can take it to the Board of Elections, you could drop it off at a poll site, or you can postmark it in the mail by November 2nd, Election Day. Early voting, reminder, that's October 23rd to the 31st. That's 2 weekends, and the week before Election Day, we have 9 days of early voting, and Election Day is on November 2nd. So make sure you check the NYC Voter Search to make sure your voter registration is up to date. You go to that website, you put in your name, borough, zip code, birth date, and you get your registration status. We have an online voter guide on our website where you can see all the candidates running where you live. And you can also see more information about the ballot proposals, voting.nyc, and then you go to meet the candidates. We have the voter guide, there's a candidate profile, there's a video statement that they submit, and you can see who these people are running for the different offices. Voting.nyc, then you go to meet the candidates. Okay, here's what that looks like. You just type in your address and it gives you everyone that's going to be on your ballot for the city for the major offices: mayor, public advocate, comptroller, borough president, city council. There's also info on the ballot proposals. Again, reminder, early voting and voting on Election Day. The early voting is 9 days. There's weekend, early morning, evening hours. For Election Day is 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. And this is the link, the findmypollsite.vote.nyc. Check your poll site. It's not the same poll site on early voting as it is for Election Day. They're likely to be different locations. You go to that website, you put in the address and zip code. It'll tell you where you need to go, what the accessible entrance is, the early voting hours. It'll give you the same thing for the Election Day poll site, and it'll give you a sample ballot. Finally, to wrap up, formally incarcerated as of this year. If you are formally incarcerated, if you are released including released on parole, you have your right to vote restored. You do need to re-register. If you are a survivor of domestic violence, you can have your public voting records sealed. And the organization Safe Horizon is a good resource for this. If you are an individual in permanent housing, you can register using a shelter, a school, the address of a friend, relative, or another location. You do need to provide a mailing address. Voting.nyc, that's our website. We have everything there to check your registration status, the voter guide, find your poll site. We do text as well. If you want text alerts, vote smart to 917-976-6377. And the voter guide is also going in the mail. We mail out the booklet based on where you live with the information on all the candidates. And that's the presentation. I try to get through it and leave time if there are any questions. I'm more than happy to answer.
Thanks, Omar. Questions from the board?
Yes, Celeste, Annette. Omar, would you please put up the website for the early voting again, please?
I'm going to share my information and the website on the chat right now, if I'm able.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions?
Voting.nyc.
All right, we do have one in the Q&A, and I'm not sure which specific part this was referring to, but there was an anonymous attendee that asked if candidates refuse to answer, can they be removed from the ballot? So I'm not sure.
I think it's for the voter guide. We cannot remove them from the ballot. That's the Board of Elections area of responsibility. The way it comes into play is the matching funds program. So they are applying to get public financing for running their campaign, and we're in charge of that program. And so for them to get these public dollars, they have to provide information and make it publicly available in the voter guide. They have to participate in debates if we're holding debates, that type of thing. So it's more about the campaign finance side, not so much removing them from the ballot.
Got it. Thank you. Last call, questions? Okay, seeing none.
Hope everyone remembers to turn their ballot over and vote, and including voting on the ballot proposals, and hope to see you all again very soon.
Thank you. All right, that concludes our public hearing portion this evening. Thank you everyone for your patience. We'll go ahead and we'll move right into our regular meeting, starting with our first roll call. Board members, please be ready. And just another reminder for those on the phone, *6 is to unmute. Please unmute only when you're going to speak. And we'll get started. Give me 1 second to pull up the attendance sheet. All right, Marcus Alston. Reverend Grace Aites. Joanna Bennett.
Here.
Joshua Brown. Martha Brown. Raul Brown.
Present.
Robert Camacho.
Present.
Gardier Caphart.
Present.
Melissa Carrera.
Here.
Felix Ceballos.
Present.
Louisa Chan. Andrew Choi.
Present. Hi, everyone.
Thank you. Daniela Davi.
Present.
Alvina Davis.
Present.
Carlos Feliciano. James Fitzgerald.
Present.
Freddie Fowler. Igati Gomez. Christopher Graham.
Present.
Ann Guiney.
Present.
Reverend Migdalia Gutierrez has resigned. Jose Guzman.
Good evening, present.
Thank you. Hadia Harrison.
Present.
Jared Hicks is excused. Tanisha Honeygan.
Present.
Barbara Jackson.
Here.
Kristen Jock is excused. Cheryl Jones. Virgie Jones,
Present.
Luisa Jose, Andy Marte,
Here.
Mary McClellan, Imani Mitchell, Desmond Monroe, Sammy
Here.
Namir. Got you, Desmond. Sammy Namir, Kyle O'Rourke,
Here.
Suma Navoa, Asire Polite, Gladys Bulia, Raul Rubio,
Present.
Eliseo Ruiz,
Yeah.
got you, Bernardina Shell, Barbara Smith, Dustin Sunborn is excused, Annette Spellin,
Here.
Leo Teneo, Jerry Valentine,
Here.
Carlotta Williams,
Here.
Oldhoff Wright, Frank Zimmerman is excused. If folks will bear with me one moment, I know we have some folks who weren't able to speak. I don't know, Ms. Brown, Mr. Fowler, and Ms. McClellan. I do see them here. I'm not sure why they haven't been able to unmute
And
themselves.
Barbara.
And Barbara. Yep, so they all have been added. I'm not sure why they're having issues. Oh, Mr. Fowler, I see you were able to unmute. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Did you hit *6 or how were you able to unmute?
Yes, *6.
Okay, so just a reminder, everyone, *6. If you're muted for whatever reason and you're calling in, that should unmute you. All
I
right.
think Joshua Brown was here too, but I didn't hear him.
Yeah, I didn't hear him either. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the tally, noting the folks who weren't able to speak that we see on the screen. Just give me one moment.
I believe he indicated
himself in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay, yep, I'm not
That's
able to
been
see the
ongoing as well.
attendance sheet in the chat at the same time, so thank you for letting me know. Just give me one moment. I'm gonna update the sheet.
Joshua Brown, and so is Desmond Sanborn. They just checked in.
Dustin, okay, got it.
Yeah, Dustin.
One moment, all right.
He says, I'm here, but not as a panelist.
Yep, I'm not able to make anyone a panelist until I finish counting the attendance.
All right. I got 28.
Looks like it's right. 28 board members present. That constitutes a quorum. Thank you, everyone. We'll go ahead and move down now to the second agenda item, which is acceptance of the agenda. Is there a motion from the board?
I make the motion, Jose Guzman.
A second?
Second, Robert Camacho.
Okay, Mr. Camacho, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
any
Aye.
abstentions? So moved. Moving on now to agenda item number 3, acceptance of the previous meeting minutes. Is there a motion from the board?
I make a motion that we accept the minutes from the previous meeting.
Alvina Davis, second.
All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions?
Aye.
So moved. Moving on now to our chairperson's report, Mr. Camacho.
I hope everyone's safe. I miss all you guys, even though I see you on Zoom, but I don't know how good that is, but okay. I just want to, Celeste, in regards, just for clarification, in regards to the budget priorities, you want me to do it in the district, because you got me here in district office, or
You can
how
do,
would you?
yeah, you can do your report first now, and then I'll pull up the sheet and you can just summarize the first few capital requests.
All right, sounds good. All right, so I'll just let them know at a time. All right. Thursday, September 16th, I was at the Community Advisory Board on Decal Shelter on Zoom at 11. That Thursday, at 6 o'clock, capital allocation to Hope Garden Community Center. We had a Zoom meeting with our new elected officials in regards to some money that they were going to give to fix Hope Garden. So we have to see, we know the money went to another development because it was on the Nitures, but hopefully they promised that they'll bring back money to the center, hopefully. Thursday, September 16th at 5:30, the NCO meeting, Sector Charlie. Friday, September 17th, we met on Zoom with Chief Harrison. Monday, the 20th, from 9:30 to 5, the Borough Budget Consultation. Monday, the 20th, CB4, 6 o'clock. Youth and Education on Zoom. Tuesday, the 21st, Hope Garden, 422 Central, Captain Meeting, Building Captain Meeting. Thursday, the 23rd at 5:30, me and Celeste was invited to Riseboro Gala 2021 in Dumbo Park, and it was pouring, but we had a nice time. We were swimming and dancing at the same time. NCO David Knickerbocker on Monday, September 27 at 12, meeting. We met with our new council person, which will be in January, Jennifer Gutierrez. On Wednesday, September 29th at 12, the New York City Civil Engagement Commission, that was a seminar they had in resources. On Wednesday, the 29th at 2, the Butcher Community Partner Plan meeting. On Thursday, the 30th, from 9:30 to 4 o'clock, the Borough Budget Consultation. Thursday, the 30th, 6 p.m., CB4 District Office. You'll see what we have 2 recommendations on this. We'll do it on recommendations. I have 2 to 3 recommendations on this topic. On Thursday, September 30th at 7 p.m., I went to the Patrol Borough North NCO meeting with Inspector Moscow at the Borough. On Friday, October 1st, 10 a.m., the RAD meeting. Wasn't too happy. Just want to let y'all know that that our senior, that I've been complaining so much, 80-something years old, is in 85 Palmetto, and she's in her beautiful apartment. And I want to thank, if it's there, Carlos from Salazar's office, because I stormed in there. I was very upset when I heard that she was still bouncing around in people's sofas. And all it was somebody put some things through NYCHA for her to get her apartment. And I don't know what happened in a month. I know September 17th, NYCHA inspected the apartment on 85 Palmetto for the senior. I'm talking about Mrs. Betty Bunting, that I was talking to you, that they removed her. And she didn't want to go to 140. So I just, I got a call, and also from Miss, if it wasn't from Miss Spelling's sister, she gave me an earful. So I went over there, and she's in her home. She's gonna have a nice senior building. She's waiting for her home attendant to come back to her. So she's gonna have a decent little place to have her home, you know, now in the Christmas time, you know, people can go. But she's in her home. She got her keys to the apartment and everything. I haven't seen that. I haven't went to the house, but I will make a visit just to check up on her and make sure she's okay. On Monday, October 4th at 10 o'clock, sanitation, solid waste meeting we had on Zoom. On Monday, the same day, the 4th, we had an interview for the board person, you know, Willie retired. That was at 12. Then that same day, we had another interview, another one. We had 17. Out of the 17, we picked 5. So we did 2 on the 4th, 1 at 12 and 1 at 1. And then on Tuesday, the 5th, I went through the RAD meeting, walkthrough. Wasn't too happy about what was going on there, but obviously, the elected officials to take care of it. Tuesday, October 5th, 11th, another interview, and then another interview at 12 that Tuesday. And Wednesday, the 6th, October, we had another interview, those were the 5. And yes, we did, Celeste did hire someone. She'll fill you in on her end. On October 6th, the open restaurants zoning text amendment, I testified. I was in the meeting. I stood in the meeting from 10 o'clock left on. I didn't get to testify until 8 o'clock that night, but I still testified and I got on it. On Wednesday the 6th at 6 p.m., the executive board meeting on Zoom. On Thursday, October 7th at 5, sanitation work group. Saturday, October 9th, I went to the A3 precinct for tent ministry through the food feast that they do with the clergy. On Knickerbocker, tent ministry gave food to a lot of people. On Monday the 11th from 2 to 4, Living Bridges gave food at the A3 precinct. Also gave out bears, built the bears and books. So a lot of people getting fed. So people can't say they're not eating in Bushwick. Then we also had Metro gave food there too. So people can't say Bushwick ain't getting no love for food. On Tuesday, October 12th at 5 p.m., the Bushwick Arts and Culture Group. On Tuesday, the 12th at 6, Economic Development Permits and License. On Wednesday, the 13th, 10:30, District Service Cabinet Meeting. On Wednesday, the 13th at CB4 Budget Priorities. Thank everybody that participated. We had a wonderful time doing what we had to do. On Thursday, October 14th at 5 p.m. Zoom, Maria Hernandez Park, in regards to update on the soccer field and what happened to the trees. The trees were sick. They had to cut the trees down. They didn't look sick. They look healthy on top, but they were showing pictures with roots in the bottom, rotting away. So, and little insects. So they had to get it down. So a lot of people were complaining about that. So they sent pictures and videos, and the arbor, unless we ain't licensed arbor, we wouldn't know. But yes, they cut the trees down. They're gonna plant them back. I think it was 10 little ones back. So eventually, we don't know how long it's gonna grow like that, but that's been there for a long time. So Thursday, October 14th, 6 p.m., the Civil Public Safety Religions Committee. On Tuesday, the 19th, 1 p.m. meeting with, I had a meeting with 183 Broadway. That's those people that took over the store that say they have a right to own it. I don't know, I don't know who's worse, the owner or the people that were living in there that took over, because hopefully they're gonna clean the place up. The place is terrible. They're bringing furniture outside. They have a non-for-profit, but it's really profit. They're getting money and they're doing activities there, and the cops are having an issue there. So we met with the precinct, we met with the owners, the stores on that area, the 2 to 3 stores, which is the, if you know, is the bar in the corner, the Looking Glass is planning to close because these people are out there doing crazy stuff. The guy with the shoes and another printing thing, they were there saying that they can't, something's got to be done. Those people are out there rampant, and they're saying that they have every right to do what they have to do because, I don't know, they lost their jobs and I don't know, through COVID. So now everything is COVID. So on Tuesday, the 19th, on Wednesday, the 20th, or today, CB4 meeting. And I was gonna tell you about a lot of people didn't know that you gotta turn over your ballots. I had already wrote them all down, but we really need to turn over our ballots because that's the reason why when they did the charter revision with the board members, when they could, you termed out, a lot of people didn't turn over the ballots and didn't fight for what was going on. So now board members are term limit. Every 4 years, you wait a while and then you can get on. 4 years from now, I'll be 65. Who will wanna, you know, but we wanna make sure that, you know, we have people that represent the community and new people too. We don't mind having new people I always tell everybody says that Bushwick is gonna change, but change with us. If it's not gonna change with us, then it's not fair. And we have to be part of the change. You know, we have to, and also we all have to put our fair share in it and all get together and make the change. In regards to the capital priorities,
I'll
I'll
share the
let
screen.
Celeste, or you want me?
Yep, I'm gonna share the screen now.
Okay, well then I'm only gonna do the,
Yeah,
I'm only gonna
summarize
do the first 5.
Yeah,
All right. You don't want me to read all that, they can read it.
no, you can just summarize the request. So
Okay, all right, so I had wrote that. We're gonna do the first 5, but we're gonna a copy of this. I'll give copies for our time. More housing for extremely low and low income households. More housing for special needs households, such as formerly homeless. We really need that because you know now, if you saw the graphics that I told you, we have approximately 1,400 currently homeless students in our district. We got 353 in the shelters. Double up, we got 1,027 and 32 others. Others means we don't know where they at in the street or somewhere. So that's our school in our district, 32. That's what's going on in Bushwick. We need to reconstruct the street from Broadway, from Flushing to Eastern Parkway. You see that street is all beat up. We also need the street trees. They do it every 7 years. So we need to prune these trees. And then we need to reconstruct or upgrade Maria Hernandez Comfort Station. Those were the 5. If y'all want more copies, we have up to 15. Celeste can give you a copy of it. And I think that is my job. What do you think, Celeste?
Great, Mr. Camacho.
Any questions?
Just before we go into questions, I'll just elaborate a little bit more on the budget process for the board. So each year the board holds the annual budget meeting, which is where the board members, as well as the public, anyone is welcome to attend, go through the priorities, this list that you're looking at here, which includes both capital and expense budget requests. So during the meeting, we'll go through all of them. The committee will recommend whether to leave something where it is, to remove something from the list, or to prioritize it even higher on the list. Often I'll provide context as to why something may be in progress, or something that's occurred with the project, or a little bit more information for the committee to make an informed choice. So if you need more information about the budget, feel free to reach out to us in the office. And I'll stop sharing the screen now.
That's it. I'm done, Celeste. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. If there are no questions for Mr. Camacho, we'll go ahead and we'll move on with the agenda. And that would be the introduction of our elected officials and representatives. Just give me one moment. All right. I see Marcus. If you want to go ahead and go first, I'll keep adding folks.
Good evening, everyone. Marcus Harris here, Brooklyn Borough President, Eric Adams' office. We're at 209 Geralman Street, downtown Brooklyn. Phone number is 718-802-3700. My number is 718-802-3909.
Thank you, Marcus. You're the best.
Thank you. Good to see you, Mr. Camacho.
All right.
Good to see everyone.
Good.
All right. I also have Jackie Reyes. Jackie, you there? Should be able to mute. We can come back. Jonathan? You should be able to unmute now.
Hi.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Hi,
Go
can
ahead.
you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Hi there. Good evening, everyone. This is Jonathan from the Brooklyn DA Eric Gonzalez's office. My phone number is 718-250-2817. And also, we're having an event on Friday for seniors. You can see on the DA's social media. Thank you so much.
All right, Mary?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Hi, my name is Mary. I'm from the Office of Assemblywoman Davila at 249 Wilson. Our phone number is 718-443-1205. And I wanted to promote our Halloween event today. We're collaborating with Sun Brooklyn as well as the Office of Senator Julia Salazar. And if I may share it here in the chat, we just got the flyer finalized. So I think that would be, something really great for the community. We're going to have activities for children, resources from different community organizations. So yeah, that's all I really wanted to say. Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Thanks. Just a reminder, just name and contact info. Announcements are later.
No, it's okay. She's new. We're gonna give you a pass today, but next time we're gonna blow you up.
My apologies.
All right.
We got.
Hi, everybody.
Go for it, Jackie.
This is Jackie from Assemblymember DeLon's office. It is great to see everybody again. I know you can't see me, but I can see you.
You can't.
Our office is still located at 366 Cornelia Street. I am seeing constituents. Unfortunately, is on appointment basis for a few reasons, but if anybody needs assistance, please feel free to call me at 718-386-4576.
All right. If I've missed you, it's not intentional. Please just drop me a line in the chat. We'll keep moving on with our agency representatives and community-based organizations. I've already moved a few folks over. I believe Karina, name and contact info.
Hi, everyone. My name is Karina Lozada. I'm a staff attorney at Communities Resist. We're still working remotely, but if you need me, you can call me at 646-974-8773. Thank you.
Thanks. All right. Also, Vanessa.
Hi, yes, my name is Vanessa Peretta. I am the Education and Community Director for the Bushwick Star. We are now located on 419 Eldert Street, which is a new home for us. And I will put all of my information in the chat. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we can't wait till you open up so we can go there.
Ooh, I cannot wait.
All right. And again, same thing. If for whatever reason I've missed you, it's not intentional. There will be another opportunity for folks to introduce themselves and to provide an announcement later in the meeting. Please just drop me a line in the chat so I know that you would like to. All right. And I believe, Mr. Camacho, I got a message from Community Affairs at the A3. They mentioned that the captain wouldn't be able to make it this evening.
Yes, he has somewhere, and I gave him a pass because today is his son's birthday, so he wants to take his son. So I says, all right, well, we'll get you next time. So don't forget about everything. But maybe Avina Davis, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Ms. Davis, maybe you can touch up on some points for him. Since we were at the clergy, maybe you can, in regards to, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You want me to do it now?
Yeah, because this is his part.
Okay. Well, one of the things he mainly talked about was the crime, that some of it is up, but he stressed about the robberies that has been happening and the grand larcenies. There's been a lot of robberies and they've made a lot of arrests on these robberies, but the areas is on Linden Street between Wyckoff and Broadway, and also around the Maria Hernandez Park. And he was asking everyone that they have to be conscious of what's going on around them. You have to get your heads out the phones and be observe what's going on around you. Also, he talked about I said the grand larcenies because oh Lord, I said the grand larcenies already. Maria Hernandez Park, and what else did he talk about? Robert, what else did he talk about?
All right, he talked about the scans. People out there scanning
That's right.
more than ever now.
Yes, he did talk
What's
about
going on now.
And I have to turn, and I'll say to everybody, since I'm speaking to you guys, there are some scams that are going on right now that you have to be conscious of. And this is not, he didn't go into details on the different types of scams, though he said he almost got scammed himself. There's some scams that are going on that I've noticed in the community that people have been calling me about. And if I have to say this, if they're asking you to give any kind of funds, you won money, but they're asking you for funds. They're asking you to send them money. It is a scam. And people, even my cousin got scammed. We have to be very careful. If it's too good to be true, it is a scam. So be very careful. Do not give your information out to anybody, no one at all. And if you're not sure about something, because I'll give you an example of what this one scam I heard. Well, they said that they won $9 million from Walmart, and they have to send X amount of money to get their $9 million. Well, they had to send money orders, and they've been sending these money orders, and then they discovered that they're sending these money orders and it's a scam. And now the person has been borrowing money to get this $9 million. So now this person is now in the hole for the money that they borrowed. Please, you can call Walmart. You can call your customer service number. They go through your bank. They'll use your bank. They for some reason they know a lot of information, because that's what the commanding officer said. They said he had his account. They had all his information, so he almost got scammed. The thing was, he checked first before he went through with it. So please double check before you give money to anybody. And I think that's about it. Was there anything else, Robert?
That's it.
That's
Thank you. That's it. You did the best. See that? We didn't need him there. You got it.
You're all right, Robert.
We have someone. We got someone from the senator's office. I think he wants to speak. Caesar? Carlos?
Hold on. All right. Hold on one moment.
Yeah, he's trying to get on, he said.
All right.
Can I
It's
get?
helpful. Yeah, folks, let me know who's going to be joining before the meeting, then I'll know who to add. I know we have some new representatives that we've yet to meet. So you should be able to mute now, Carlos.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for such a great meeting. I'm Carlos Calzadilla. I'm the Director of Community Relations for State Senator Julia Salazar. Our office is at 212 Evergreen Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, and our office number is 718-573-1726. Also, feel free to reach out to me at 786-720-9476. And to echo what the Assemblywoman's office is doing, we're partnering with them with that Halloween event. So we really encourage everyone to go out there, and anything, please make sure to pass our information around. We're always dealing with constituents. We do appointment based, but we won't turn away anyone. So please make sure that if you yourself, any neighbors our office is ready to help.
And Carlos, I want to thank you. My senior has her apartment. I want to thank you because I know I went in there a little cuckoo, but you did your work and she got her keys. So she's no longer sleeping in a sofa, bouncing around, 81 years old. So I want to thank you.
I appreciate that, Camacho, but it couldn't have happened without you being such an incredible advocate for everyone in the community. So thank you for bringing that case. And, without the work you did, no one would have known that Ms. Burns was dealing with that. So thank you. Any other case, anything, please just reach out to our office. We were responsive. We want to make sure that our community has a voice always.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, man.
What's his number?
Hi, everyone.
What's his number?
Yeah.
What's his number?
Yes, I'll give you my number. It's 786-720-9476. That's my personal number. I also dropped the information in the chat. And if you want to reach out to the office as well, that is 718-573-1726.
Right.
And that's Barbara Smith.
That's Barbara Smith.
Oh, hi,
That's
Barbara.
me.
Thanks, Barbara. All right, so just two more introductions and contact info from Sarah and then Ariella.
Hi, good evening. My name is Sarah Lauria. I'm the Deputy Director at St. Nick's Alliance. Our address is 790 Broadway in Brooklyn. The phone number is 718-302-2057, extension 401. And our email address is adulteducationwfd@stnicksalliance.org. Thank you.
Thank you, St. Nick. We ain't hear you for a while. Where you been hiding?
Yeah, I've been here.
All right, Ariella.
Hi, it's Ariella from the North Brooklyn Coalition Against Family Violence. You can call 718-302-4073 or email info@northbrooklyncoalition.org.
All right, thank you. So I don't see any other comments in the chat. I know Sonia Velasquez had dropped her info. I'm not sure if she's still on. I tried to take a look in the list. I didn't see her. She may have jumped off. We'll keep moving on with our agenda to get through the rest of this evening's meeting. Next is the district manager's report. That is my report. Just give me one moment. All right, so good evening, everyone. Happy belated Indigenous Peoples Day. A reminder that the official NYC heat season began October 1st and runs until May 31st. During this period, property owners must provide tenants with heat and hot water under the following conditions: day between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. if the outside temperature falls below 55 degrees. If you have any heat or hot water issues, please do not hesitate to contact the board's office. Additionally, the Home Energy Assistance Program, HEAP, helps those with low income pay the cost of heating their homes. If you are eligible, you may receive one regular HEAP benefit per program year and could also be eligible for HEAP emergency heat benefits if you are in danger of running out of fuel or having your utility service shut off. For more information, connect with a local HEAP contact, and I've included that information in my report. I'll drop it in the chat once I finish. And I'm also happy to share, as Mr. Camacho referenced earlier, that the vacancy in the board's office was recently filled. Kimberly Maldonado, CB4's new community liaison, is scheduled to start on Monday, October 25th. We received 17 applications, interviewed 5 candidates earlier this month. It was a very competitive process. Ultimately, Ms. Maldonado was selected, and we look forward to welcoming her to the team. There is another week to go before the conclusion of the board's current budget process for the fiscal year 2023. If you have yet to do so, I encourage you to fill out the Statement of Community District Needs surveys. Thus far, they were shared via the board's e-newsletter. You might also have seen the feature in both the Brooklyn Paper and Brooklyner. Thank you to both publications for their help in getting the word out. Another big thank you to El Puente and CB4 board members Jose Guzman and Sammy Namir for their help translating the surveys into Spanish. We are in the process of coordinating with Riseboro and other local senior residences to make paper copies available, as well as potentially coordinating a pop-up to automatically enter info into the forms. We're looking forward to reviewing and publishing the results of the surveys with the help of Michaela Bruschetti, a Fund for the City of New York Fellow and graduate student. Michaela will be helping the board's office with a couple of exciting projects this year. And then below are the meetings and events that I attended. I will not be reading all of these. However, I will summarize. As Mr. Camacho mentioned, we attend many of the same budget meetings, similar meetings in terms of investments in the communities. Often I received emails from different types of groups. For example, a contact from the Perelman Performing Arts Center in Manhattan was asking for how they can better connect with folks in Bushwick. I've also continued the conversation about the future of community board's draft report. I'm very excited to report that we should have a draft for boards to review by this Friday. It's a very exciting process. The report focuses on the challenges faced by community boards citywide. And it's been incredible to have different boroughs involved in the conversation. And moving us along, this is also the season, it seems, for all of the journalism students to contact the community board. So I've been speaking to many different journalism students about the various issues in Bushwick. Hopefully they'll help us shedding a light on those. And we've been talking to our agency partners, like City Planning about community district needs, the Civic Engagement Commission about their tools. You can check out their first report, which is now available. And we also had a Bushwick Community Plan Next Steps check-in. We all know, well, For those that were heavily involved, we know that the plan was permanently paused right before the pandemic. And now that we're seeing a significant change in leadership, we want to be prepared to continue that conversation however is most appropriate. Generally, we just discussed where we are and what we might expect come the new year. And let's see, also some conversations about Broadway, the reconstruction, getting some attention from the press to help us move that project forward. And a check-in for the sanitation working group, where we discuss primarily the town hall that's going to be happening tomorrow evening. And towards the last 2 weeks, I've been speaking to our new non-board committee members. Just want to say welcome and shout out to all of them. We have Isa Abne. We have, let's see, Alicia French, Christine Malden, Derek Lilly, and a few more that I'm still in the process of coordinating a time to speak with them. As a reminder to everyone, you're welcome to join a working group at any time. Typically, you can join a committee. We encourage it towards the beginning of the year to get the most out of it. But if you're interested in becoming a non-board committee member, please feel free to reach out to me for more information. And just two final comments. It's Fire Prevention Month. And last week it was also Fire Prevention Week. For more information about how to prevent fires and fire safety, you can visit fdnysmart.org. And then for folks that are interested, there's more information about curbside composting. They are not looking to expand the program. They're only looking to resume the program in areas that had it prior to it being temporarily suspended. However, it's important if folks are interested to make sure that the Department of Sanitation knows so they can use that information for the future if they do plan to expand. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
And Celeste, and may I say that the board, the non-board members are non-voting bodies. They're only can be used to build the quorum, but not to be used to vote on anything. It's in the city charter. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other questions, comments? If not, we will move on to our committee reports. And we'll start this evening with Youth and Education. Virgie?
Hi, Celeste. Good evening to everyone. So we had our meeting on Monday, September 20th at 6 o'clock. And we had old girl Atkinson, the program director and administrator for Girls Val Incorporated. She gave us an overview of Girls Val Incorporated, mission and its purpose. They was founded in 2014. And apparently she says that they are stationed up in the Bronx, and she wanted a letter of support. And they offer a lot of nice services and everything. But we told her that we couldn't give it because we didn't really know about them and they weren't located in Bushwick. She also indicated that they were doing a lot of virtual meetings, and I asked if they had went to other community boards, and she said the CEO was waiting to do some presentations. And she said that they're funded by DYCD and Robin Hood. But like I said, they have a lot of nice programs and everything. But we told her, that thanked her for the presentation. And we also encouraged her one of the members of the committee also encouraged her to continue to go on social media. And also someone suggested that she research CASA, New York, and they have different chapters. So hopefully we'll get a chance to get her back into one of our meetings in the future. But we thanked her for her presentation, and that was it for her. We were happy to have our superintendent for Community District 32, Sheila Gorski, and the deputy superintendent, Dr. Rebecca Lazazda, sorry for the pronunciation. And they gave us a presentation about the overall of District 32, some of the needs, and they they just re-emphasized that District 32 is committed to cultivating safe, orderly, and healthy environments where students in our diverse community are appreciated and where similarities, values, differences. And they wanted to make sure that that was understood and that in spite of the pandemic, that the students and District 32 had achieved a lot. And of course, you know that they're all back in school now. Everything is in-house. And Dr. Lazaza, Rebecca, gave her presentation, and they're calling this year the year of perpetual hope and exceeding excellence, always believing and promoting success for all the students, teachers, and staff, success for the principals, and teaching holistically with a growth mindset, and always serving and executing with integrity, honesty, and excellence. And then they talked about safety. And most of this had happened already, but they just brought us up to date about the walkthroughs that were done. You know, they're encouraging kids 12 and up to get vaccinated. All staff, thankfully, are now vaccinated. Or if not, you know, they're taking the proper precautions for it. But all staff, from my understanding, have received at least one vaccination. And they strongly emphasize that masks are required for entering the school buildings. They talked about the school leadership changes, a new assistant principal at 151, a new principal intern acting at 377, 383, a new also assistant principal. And they talked about the numbers of students that are enrolled, but of course this goes up and down. And the final determinations comes out at the end of October for budgeting and everything. Mr. Camacho already talked and touched on the homelessness, which is a big concern here in our district. And yesterday at the Bushwick Community Partnerships, they did have a representative there from the Department of Ed, and she talked about the temporary housing. And they said that Brooklyn and Queens has the largest temporary homeless students. And she said a lot of that is due to resources. So we're going to follow up with the BCP to see if they'll be able to give us more information on this. But I did let them know that that was a great concern of ours, and we were going to reach out to our elected officials in that regard. I thank Ms. Gorski and Dr. Lazaza for attending our meeting and for bringing us up to date on our District 32 elementary and middle schools. And we also are encouraging our members to please attend the CEC meetings, which are usually the Thursday after our Wednesday meetings, because they're very informative, and they're having one tomorrow night, and it is virtual. The Abney Association Black Educators, they're having their Black History Month essay contest, which they've had every year, and we're strongly encouraging all the students in grades 2 to 11 to participate. And that final presentation is going to be on February 5th, 2022. That's that. And I thank everyone for attending our meeting, and our meeting was adjourned at 7:34. Thanks to all who attended. And I don't think I left out anything. Thank you, Celeste.
Thanks, Virgie. If there are no
Any questions?
Yep.
Somebody?
Yep, if there are any questions, now's the time. I know someone put in the chat where they can find the information for the meeting tomorrow. I was gonna drop the information, the email and the phone number for CEC 32 in a moment. Someone I think beat me to it. Thank you, whoever that was.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah. So if anything, we will move on if there are no other questions for youth and education. All right. Thank you, Virgie. And next we have economic development plus permits and licenses. Desmond, if you want to summarize your part first, and then Melissa can go. Huh? Desmond? All right. I'm not sure if he got bounced off. I will take a look in the attendee list shortly. But since I don't see him at the moment, I will go ahead and summarize. There was one presentation for economic development regarding the Brooklyn Center for Technology and Arts. Aaron Dean is the president. He came in, they're not a formal 501c3 yet. They're a group of working professionals who are hoping to create a workforce development program that will serve Central Brooklyn. We were connected to them. Thank you to Councilmember-elect Nurse, who shared the information with us and made the connection. We mentioned that there was space potentially within our building at 1420 Bushwick Avenue. That is a conversation they would have to have with the building manager, which right now is Family Services Network of New York. However, they wanted to make sure that we knew what type of services they would be providing and what kind of jobs that they're hoping to bring into communities. They are helping right now with the Carpenter's Apprentice program. I believe the deadline to enroll in this initial one was last Friday. We did include the information in the newsletter that went out. So hopefully folks will take advantage of that and we will be continuing the conversation. It was generally just an introduction meeting and we asked them to keep us posted about any opportunities. All right, Melissa.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great, thanks. So the Economic Development Permits and Licenses Committee met on Tuesday, October 12th at 6 p.m. Celeste went over the first agenda item, and we had two new liquor license applications for review. The first is Rico Chimi, located at 1492 Myrtle Avenue. As most of you know, on Myrtle Avenue, they've been an existing business for some time now. They're interested in increasing revenue by adding a beer and wine license to their menu. And they are intending sales of alcohol hours are stated in the application in the meeting 7 days a week, Monday through Thursday from 12 p.m. to 2 a.m., Friday through Saturday from 12 p.m. to 4 a.m., and Sundays from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. And the committee did suggest the 11 p.m. closing time for the outdoor space as per our CB4 stipulation. This is just something that we are trying to keep uniform with all businesses to really reduce 311 calls and noise complaints. And it's something that, you know, we want to really be mindful of, especially with quality of life. It's a residential area. It's, you know, in fact, Myrtle Avenue, it has a lot of nightlife as well, but this location is really special because there's no other surrounding businesses on that side of the street, but there is a lot of residential. And the establishment is in compliance with no selling of alcohol after 12 a.m. on Sundays. The, excuse me, the second application is BK Topple Factory Llc, located at 195 Stanhope Street. They're applying for a new full liquor license. They are a Mexican cuisine restaurant that has been in the neighborhood for some time now. This is really just to increase revenue as well. And, you know, provide a margarita with, you know, the tacos that you buy with all the Mexican food that you want the full experience for. So their intended sales of alcohol hours, as stated in the committee, are as follows: 7 days a week, Monday through Thursday from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m., Friday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 4 a.m., and Sundays from 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. They have an 11 p.m. closing time as well, as suggested by the committee due to our CD4 stipulation, and the establishment is in compliance with no selling of alcohol after 12 a.m. on Sundays. So these two establishments are just two restaurants that have been in the neighborhood for some time now that are really looking to, you know, increase revenue. The gentleman from BK Topple Factory did share with us that, you know, a lot of people come for food and will leave and go to a bar to have drinks elsewhere. So he wants to be able to keep the same clients, have them enjoy a drink while they have their food, which I think is a fair case. You don't want to lose, you know, business for that one reason. So they are deciding to expand and add their liquor license to their portfolio and their establishment. In terms of new business, we did have an introduction of Club Feast by Janice Donald. So it's a for-profit organization that provides opportunity for local businesses to promote their menu items at a fixed rate for the consumer. And it's, I would say, a very layered for-profit organization that is intended to, you know, get businesses that might be having a hard time, you know, selling a certain menu item, or that are having a hard time just having things in their restaurant, And this will increase visibility for businesses that might be having a challenging time. And their focus right now is to expand and grow here in Bushwick. So if anyone knows of any businesses that might want to sign up for this program, it would be like a year, I believe, contract with them. And the food cost would be at 30% of the regular price item. And there are a ton of more information that I know Celeste probably has with her, but if anyone is interested or wants to reach out to Club Feast, please reach out to the district office. And that sums up my report, and I'll get to recommendations. Thank you.
Thanks, Melissa. Any questions, permits and licenses or economic development? If not, we will move on. All right. We already spoke about the district office updates. For more information, folks can read the report. Was there a question from someone?
Yes, Joshua. I wanted to comment. This week, I attended the meeting in regards to 97 Wyckoff with core services on them Zoom. So I just wanted to give an update on that.
Josh, I'm sorry. That's new business. If you don't mind, if we can get through the committee reports, and then I was gonna let you speak during new business. Is that okay with you?
Thank you.
Okay, perfect. All right. So we'll continue with the committee reports, and we have Civic, Public Safety, Religious, Ms. Spellin next.
Good evening. There were no reports for the civic or religious committees. Public safety, September, we had the MTA announced installation of security cameras at 472 subway stations. We also had the New York City Office of Prevention of Hate Crimes report 6 incidents, including one here in Bushwick, which included an anti-sex robbery incident on Broadway. The Board of Corrections variance meeting, they requested 7 variances, only 3 passed, and they also requested additional correction officers. There were 2 fire incidents in Bushwick, no injuries to report. The committee met on October 14th. We had a guest speaker. It was Captain Sean Claxton from the 8-3 precinct, the executive officer. He gave a presentation on highway and traffic safety in the neighborhood of Bushwick. For the most part, we have our collisions are down, but we have other issues that he reported on. We have chronic locations at Bushwick Avenue in Myrtle, Knickerbocker Avenue in Trotman, DeKalb Avenue in Knickerbocker, and Halsey and Wilson. There were other discussions about traffic in Bushwick, especially about the commercial traffic along Bushwick Avenue and about the left-hand turn on the corner of Bushwick and Myrtle. The meeting was over at 6:52 p.m. And that's a brief report on the Public Safety Committee.
Any questions, Public Safety?
Can I make a comment?
Yes.
Oh, I'm on the Spelling Committee. Also, Ms. Spelling and myself tried to tell the captain, well, the XO, Bushwick had signs of no commercial traffic for years. We fought to get those signs up there. The trees have covered them, but years ago, we had an officer sitting in the car. When he seen the commercial trailers and stuff coming down there, they would stop him and give him a ticket. Now the XO didn't even know about that. So I sent him a little text after the meeting. I told my chairperson, Ms. Spelling, he has to do this as soon as possible because those trailers, 18-footers, they be flying down Bushwick Avenue. And it's not right. And Ms. Davis says she followed one all the way down Bushwick and it was going straight on down like it's supposed to be on Bushwick Avenue. We fought so hard and we wrote letters and everything to make sure commercial traffic didn't come on Bushwick Avenue. So I'm hoping that gets straightened out. Thank you.
Thanks, Barbara. And
Yeah,
Virgie?
he said he would follow through because he wasn't aware of the ruling.
Yeah. he wasn't
And
aware.
Barbara asked the same question I was going to ask. Because, and it's been a lot of accidents lately between the construction and everything on Bushwick. And you're correct, they fly down and they go through lights and they make wide turns and everything. So I hope that something will be done, because I'm like Barbara, years ago, you know, they had the cops out there and they stopped them.
Yeah.
But thank you. Okay.
Well, he said like I said, he said he wasn't aware of certain things that we told him about, and he said he was going to follow through. So I will follow through with him and Barbara Smith to make sure that he looks into it.
Yeah, they are.
Thank you,
Some of the
ladies.
signs, yeah, some of the signs are on Myrtle, one sign, and the other sign is on Bushwick and something. What it is that back in the 80s, a little kid got killed on Bushwick Avenue because of the truck. All he has to do is cross the street and he's there. And that's what happened to a kid. He just went there and a truck hit him. Then that was in the 70s. And then we forced them to put no commercial traffic, because one side they go fast because they want to hurry up and catch all the lights, repetitious. And on the other side, when they're coming back home, they catch all the lights. So it's getting crazy. Bushwick Avenue is getting crazy. So we'll work on that.
If I may, I know Louisa Chan, our Transportation Committee Chairperson, isn't here this evening, but the committee has been working on a Bushwick Avenue traffic safety report or a study. So there are recommendations to not only address this particular issue, but to also emphasize the need for enforcement on Bushwick Avenue, in addition to other specific recommendations. Hopefully by next month, the full board meeting will be able to share a little bit more about what those recommendations look like for the full board to have a better understanding of the work they've been doing.
Okay.
All right. If there's nothing else for this report, we will move on. Going once, going twice. All right. Arts, culture, technology. Dustin?
Hi, everyone. This is Dustin Sonneborn from the Arts, Culture, and Technology Committee. I want to thank, first of all, Zuma for leading us well the last couple of years. And I will get into our meeting notes. I'm going to just summarize a little bit. There's a very thorough report. Thank you, Sharon, that it will be available with all the other reports. We had Natiba Guy Clement from the Center for the Brooklyn History and the Brooklyn Library come to talk to us about an archive project or something like that that we've kind of had in the works for a while, or had the idea for a while. Unfortunately, the way that they operate, or the way that this would need to operate, is to be self-funded by us or with grants. It's not something they come in and say, we have the money for and we can do. So it sounds great, but that's something that we as a committee and the arts working group are going to be working on, is trying to work and find if there's some way that we can find some funding that's outside of the regular community board budget to work on programs like this. You know, some of the other neighborhoods have a Friends of Park Slope or whatever other neighborhood. We don't necessarily have that, but that's something that I would like us to work on. So if anybody has any ideas or knows of anything in this neighborhood, of course, please reach out to the office. The other thing that we spoke about in our meeting was Bushwick is next on the list to get the Link NYC kiosks. And we were informed of a 60-day window to comment on this right before our last meeting. As a committee, we are now reaching out to some of the merchants along the corridors where these proposed sites are, and we'll have a recommendation for that for the next meeting.
All right. Awesome. Any questions for Dustin? All right. I'll save it for announcements. We'll get there. All right. So hearing no,
Dustin, you sound like a radio announcer, man. You should work in the radio. Well, my name is.
all
Traffic
right,
and weather.
there we
There
go.
you go. Only no weather. Don't forget about the traffic.
So we'll move on now to our recommendations this evening. I believe we have permits and licenses recommendations as well as executive board. If I've missed anything, it's not intentional, just let me know. Melissa, if you want to get us started.
Sure. So the recommendations from the Economic Development and Permits and License Committee are as follows. We recommend to approve and vote on the establishments present today with the hours stated earlier in my report. So Rico Chini located at 1492 Myrtle Avenue. With the intended sales of alcohol hours 7 days a week, Monday through Thursday from 12 p.m. to 2 a.m., Friday through Saturday from 12 p.m. to 4 a.m., and Sundays from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. And with the stipulation of 11 p.m. closing time for outdoor space. And we are also recommending for BK Topple Factory located at 195 Stanhope Street for a new full liquor license with the intended sales of alcohol hours as follows: 7 days a week, Monday through Thursday from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m., Friday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 4 a.m., and Sundays from 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. With, of course, the CB4 stipulation of 11 p.m. closing time for the outdoor space and in compliance with no sales of alcohol after 12 a.m. on Sundays. Those are the recommendations from the committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion for a blanket vote?
I, Robert Camacho, make a motion for blanket vote.
And second.
Thank you, Josh. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? So moved. Is there a motion for the committee's recommendation?
Someone make a motion.
Anyone?
Anyone? Any day now.
James Fitzgerald, I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second.
Ann Guiney, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. All right, thank you. And we have the executive board, Mr. Camacho.
Yes, I have two recommendations, but before I go on to these recommendations, I want to make a little comment. I really have seen officers in other precincts, community affairs officers in the precincts get their gold badges. I don't understand why none of our officers, our community affair officers receive any promotion or detective special badge. I don't know why. I don't know if you know, Izzy Gomez and Oscar Lopez has been with us for a long time. I think it's time they deserve, and we need to write a letter of recommendation to make sure. I know that the 8-3 Precinct Council, the chair Barbara Smith, sent out a nice letter for them. I think that this board needs to write a letter and give them a recommendation and find out what's going on. Why aren't nobody in the precinct getting the 9-0 got one, the 7-3 got one, the 7-7 got one. Why?
This is Annette Spelling.
Nobody's getting
I motion that this board write a letter to the police commissioner requesting that Gomez and Lopez get promoted to detectives because they bust their tails in this community and they're being overlooked, and it's not fair.
No, it's not.
I motion.
There's a motion on the floor made by Ms. Spellin, seconded by Ms. Ms. Davis is already seconded. So all in favor? All in?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved.
Thank you,
everyone.
guys.
Yes, so we will write a
Those
letter.
guys been community affairs officers since 2017. They've been community affairs officers. They both came into community affairs 1 month apart. Lopez came January, Gomez came February to community affairs unit.
And the guy in the guy in the 9-0 just got there and already got his. I don't know how they get it, but we're gonna find out. They're giving them like lollipop, and we gotta bust our butt. I don't understand. Another thing.
And our community affairs officers have worked with 3 different commanders in the last 4 years. The 83rd precinct have had 3 different commanders that they had to work under in the last 4 years. This is
That was going to be my
unbelievable.
question, because they've had such a high turnover of quick turnover in commanding officers. Did that have anything to do with the fact that they haven't been promoted?
No.
No, not really.
It shouldn't be, because they shouldn't look at it as the commander's thing, but the community affairs are the right hand to every commander. Yeah, so that the commander comes in, the first one they talk to about community leaders is the community affairs officer. So hopefully this will help, because we only have to the end of this month to get the letter in, guys. After October 31st, nothing is going up to headquarters. They're going to be shredding papers, taking down pictures off their walls, because the new top people were coming in November.
Yep.
Thank
you
you,
gotta get
guys.
it done now.
We gotta get the letter out quick.
All right, thank you. Another, the district office requested to give our district manager. First, I had to let her know, because I had to check if we had any money. As you know, we keep purchasing pens, paper, pens, everything. We haven't been there a whole year, and they've been using their supplement. So the committee had requested. She is Celeste's number. I'm sorry to say, Celeste, you're number 2 on this list. You know, out of 18 board managers, you're number 2 on the waiting list. On the list in regards to salaries. I'm requiring that Celeste de Leon gets an increase of 8%. There's money in the budget before the money goes. The committee also requested it. She only her gross rate. If I tell you the things that are on here, is ridiculous. So I'm requesting that recommendation, and they also made a recommendation to give Celeste de Leon an increase, and it has to be done through the full board. So anybody wants to.
Where's all the money that we used to pay for food? We used to spend $300 a month on food to feed the board. Where did that money go to?
It went back into the other than personnel services budget. So and then of course there were budget cuts. I didn't speak on this earlier, but there were budget cuts that were applied during the pandemic. Thankfully, the beginning of this year, after many of the boards, specifically Manhattan boards, made noise, we were able to get those funds returned to our budget. So we're now at our regular baseline. So that would just be considered savings for other than personnel services. Any merit increases or hiring comes from personnel service budget.
That's
So I will defer, since it's a conflict of interest for me to speak on this, I will defer to our parliamentarian, Joanna, to ask for any motions, if you don't mind, Joanna.
Joanna Bennett, did you say that?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to ask for a motion for Celeste Leon for a salary increase, that which is stated by our chair, Mr. Camacho. Can we get a vote on that? We want to do a blanket vote? Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll do a blanket vote, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All of those in favor for the motion, I'd like to hear it by stating aye.
Aye.
Wait, we
Aye.
gotta get
Opposed?
somebody.
I'm
Wait,
so sorry.
It's the second day.
There was.
I was supposed to get anybody to second the motion.
Joshua Brown.
No.
Second the motion for blanket vote. All right, all of those in favor,
please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion has been passed. Celeste, chime.
So that, it sounded like that was a motion for a blanket vote. Someone would still have to make the motion for the increase.
No, that was,
Next motion.
Joshua Brown seconded.
So,
and then I make a motion. Okay, I make a motion for.
Not you, Robert. Robert, not you, not the
Okay.
chairperson.
Okay.
Not you.
The next spelling motions that we vote to get an increase for Celeste De Leon.
I second.
So,
I second it.
and Guyney second. So I'm so sorry to be specific, but I know that.
No,
OMB
thank you
Borough Hall-
very much for your intervention.
Yeah, no, so.
On it proper.
Miss Spellin, if I may, just for context, they typically request that you specify the percentage. If you wanted to make the recommendation based off of the executive board, that would be the 8% that Mr. Camacho mentioned. I just want to make sure that's clear for everyone.
So whoever made the motion has to put the 8% in there.
I motion that Celeste get the 8% increase. Celeste.
Okay, Guzman seconds that.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any- Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion has been made and carried for Celeste Leon to get an 8% increase.
Thank you, everyone. All right. Does that conclude recommendations this evening? All right, hearing no more, we'll move on now with old business. Any old business going once, going twice? Any new business? Josh?
Josh.
Yes, Celeste. So I had the opportunity to attend a meeting this week in regards to 97 Wyckoff Avenue. As we all know, there's a men's shelter at that site, and there's been community issues recently in regards to people selling drugs as well as loitering. So I was able to get on a call with community. Diana Rayner also, along with concerned citizens, with the director of the program, and they spoke about how they're going to have a personnel replacement at that site, given that the current site manager wasn't doing a competent job. We got reassurance from the director that they've addressed the loitering issue as well as the individual who was selling drugs. He's been removed from the facility. With that, they've employed the new site manager, and they've extended the invitation to the whole board to come and do a site visit as early as Friday or sometime early next week. They said all the members are welcome so that we can see the services they provide as well as the quality and condition of the building that the people receiving services are living in.
Yeah, Josh, but they came to this board with intentions of doing something positive, that they had security. What happened to the security that they had in the corner that they were going to bring outside?
With the security, they stated that those individuals who wandered, they were classified as AWOL. Those individuals that were outside the building's perimeter, they were in a violation of roll call. That's why those individuals were out there, in which they've been removed. But as far as internal security procedures, we can ask a deeper dive when we go to the site visit, just so we can be reassured, so we can give a first account.
Yeah, I encourage everyone to go to the site, and I encourage everyone, because Maritza lives right in that block, our assemblywoman. And that's all you need, her to go in there and start ramping and raging in there. So we really need to go in there and see that site and find out what's going on.
Well, if you want to go to the site, you can email the office and find what day is best. But we can get a group up to 15 to go and walk the site and meet the new site manager so that we have a direct contact if there's any further issues.
All right, thank you, Josh.
All right.
Thanks, Josh. Any other new business? Going once?
Celeste, I'll just do what Mrs. Davis said earlier in regards to scams, although there are the lottery scams in which you send money to receive money, let's continue to be vigilant about real estate scams that are still affect our seniors. All right.
Oh, and also I forgot, you know, when Celeste pointing at me, that means, you know, she's yelling at me. Yeah. We really need to let our people know if there's a new building being built, you people next to you can get compensated for whatever it is that they're doing to make sure that you don't make deals with developers, because I see a lot of people make deals, hand deals, and when things go bad, they want to go to court. And then the judge is going to say, well, we didn't make a deal. You need to go to court and you get a stop work order, get an attorney, and then they can turn around and force them to put insurance in your house. Just something happens through their insurance, and make sure you get compensated for whatever services. It's supposed to be a baseline where they have that they put the tripod. If it goes over your part, you should be compensated for that structure on your property. They can't be doing it for free because that's your property. So we really need to educate and let everyone know, listen, we if there's it's situations like that, we should get together and find out and help for that they don't get into no problems or lose their home, especially now at these times with scrupulous developers breaking their foundation or making you a hard time just because they want you to sell. So we always got them out there. So we gotta cross our T's and dot our I's. Did I do a good job, Celeste? Was that right?
Excellent.
Celeste.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Joanne.
I'm sorry. I don't know if this comes under the heading of old business because I mentioned it in a previous meeting and suggested it, a recommendation. But I want to continue to remind you that I would like to invite our newly elected officials to attend a community board meeting to particularly talk about homelessness and what their solutions are going to be. This issue has been replete throughout this meeting, whether we talked about the food box program, whether we talked about voting, that now homeless people can vote. We talked, it came out in so many issues that came out tonight, and that we have so many homeless people in Bushwick. It comes out whether we're talking about crime. And we can't continue to talk about Bushwick thriving until we address this homeless problem in Bushwick, whether it's in education, in the schools. It came out in the report about the schools. It has been replete throughout this meeting. And I would like to hear, I would like to have the community board invite these elected officials to come and talk about what their solutions are going to be about homelessness in Bushwick. That's just a reminder.
Okay,
Yep.
absolutely.
Okay.
So, and just a note, so when we had that discussion, I know Ms. Jones also mentioned that she would like to continue the conversation, particularly about schools under the Youth and Education Committee umbrella. So we can absolutely do both.
Celeste, Marcus Harris put clarification on the recommendation is needed.
That
Did you
was
see that?
early. Yeah, that was earlier, I believe. Marcus, was it clarified? I believe that was the one that we had clarified. For whatever reason, yeah, we can't hear you.
Verify it because OMB, we don't want no more.
Yeah,
I don't want no more
that's
problems.
why I asked for context. So I'm not sure why we can't hear Marcus right now. He unmuted, but we still can't hear him. But that's why I specified, right, that they have to be specific for OMB. So
Okay,
there was the
I know
motion for
that's
the
fine.
blanket, and that's why I said there has to be a distinction. Okay, he said yes.
Okay,
So-
yes, okay.
Okay.
We are clear. All right, thank you.
This is a point of information for Joanna. I attended a meeting today in reference to the STH program in the schools. It's a program for children, for homeless children, where the schools are allotted monies to help the children with food, transportation, and other areas. Celeste, if you want, I can give you the name of the person who presented today, and maybe we can have them come to the meeting, because it was a very good presentation, but it's very, very involved.
That would be great. All right. Final call, new business. All right. See, Carlotta, go ahead.
About the scams, you're also getting scams on your email. I've been getting a lot of email scams. So it's not only, you know, phone calls, it's email, everything.
Yes. We have to be vigilant, be careful, keep an eye out for all scams. All right. Seeing no other new business, we'll move on now to our announcements. Please be ready. A minute and a half for folks. I'm just going to name off our elected officials and others in attendance, CBOs. Did you have something, Mr. Camacho?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You forgot about the announcement that the lady from Life Audrey Johnson Daycare Center in Bushwick are working to fill in a Head Start classroom that offers free early learn programming to children ages 3 to 5 on Martha Street. Please, if you know any kids that we need to go in there. She wanted to make a come, but she couldn't, but she wanted to make an announcement with Jesse. So that new director, so please to find out kids 3 to 5 years old, early learn program is in Martha Street, Audrey Johnson. We need to put our kids in there. Thank you. Good job, Celeste.
All right, excellent.
Camacho, is it free?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Free.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank
what
you.
I said, free. F-R-E-E.
All right. So we'll move on with our announcement.
Celeste, I want to mention something.
I know I have a few different people. Let me just call out the order so everyone can be ready. Please bear with me. So I have Felix, then Barbara, and then we'll go Marcus and Jonathan. Go ahead, Felix.
Yes, I want to mention about the rat. It's a lot of rats in the street, and because construction, because renovation, and also in some point in the pandemic was a lot of garbage accumulation. The thing is, I hope the city, plan something for that, because all the garbage people put in the sidewalk, oh, forget it, it's a disaster. I hope the city do something with that.
We were just contacted by the Times this week about rats. We can speak offline and I'll see if we can get, they're actually trying to send folks out to get some photos. I'll coordinate with you offline, Felix, to follow up on this, okay?
Thank you.
Barbara?
Oh, yeah. I'm going back to Audrey Johnson. Any daycares, it's voucher system. So every parent pays different. They go by your income. So it's good. Some parents have low income, some parents have high income, and that's how your child gets accepted. So it's a good thing if you could get your child close to a public school, and then they might can come after school over to the daycare too, It's a good program. And also with the rat, people don't understand, with eating on the sidewalk is bringing the rat, because when the restaurants close, they don't really come outside and sweep. They close down and they go home. All the paper and leftover food is right on the curb. So I don't know how we're going to get rid of these rats, because we're feeding them healthy every single day. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. All right, Marcus?
Hey, everyone. I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, definitely very clear on the recommendation. I appreciate that, because I just don't want there to be a delay. Making sure that Celeste gets what she deserves. Anything that's coming up, virtual events, you can look at brooklyn-usa.org. We have all upcoming events listed on that site. And if you need me again, 718-802-3909.
Marcus, you ain't leaving me, are you, Marcus?
I'm not leaving you.
No, I'm making sure.
All right, Jonathan?
Not yet, anyway.
The little bird comes to my house and telling me stuff. I don't know how true it is.
Awesome. Good evening, everyone. This is Jonathan again from the DA's office. Just want to remind everyone that this Friday, there'll be a virtual event, a roundtable discussion, crime prevention and protection for seniors. The guest speaker will be District Attorney Eric Gonzalez, and it'll be an informative discussion, I think, on the topic, which a lot of folks have concerns about. It's this Friday, October 22 at 2 p.m. It's a Zoom meeting. The information will be online, and I will be sending emails out. You could also reach out to me for the information at 718-250-2817. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you. Mary? All right, we'll keep moving. Vanessa, any announcements?
Not this week, but probably next month. Thank you.
Perfect. Karina?
None, thank you.
Perfect. Sarah?
Yes, good evening. My name is Sarah Loria. I'm the Deputy Director for Adult Education at St. Nick's. Just wanted to tell you a little bit about our adult programs. So for over 21 years, St. Nick's Alliance Adult Education Program partners with New York City Department of Education and NYC Department of Youth and Community Development to offer free morning, evening, and Saturday classes. So it's high school equivalency classes, adult basic education, English for speakers of other language, and basic computer classes. And we're very excited to launch our Pathways program. It's for students 17 to 21. We partner with D79 to offer classes for students to earn a high school diploma. And there's also an exciting part for an internship where students can work up to 15 hours a week and they get paid to be part of that program. The classes are at our office at 790 Broadway in Brooklyn. Our phone number is 718-302-2057. Extension is 401. You can go to our website at www.stnicksalliance.org. And our email address is adulteducationwfd@stnicksalliance.org. Please feel free to reach out should you have any questions. We have a lot of availability and we'd be happy to offer any type of programs or resources into the community.
Thank you.
Is that the employee, that's the youth center that's there, 790 Broadway?
Yep, exactly. 790 Broadway and second on the second floor. Yeah,
What
please
is
feel
that?
free to come. I'm sorry.
What? Oh, so you guys took over that building? Because there wasn't
Yeah,
a
so-
program, there wasn't there a training course.
That was,
Yep, exactly.
that was Mr. Camacho. That was a workforce headquarters
There you
for the
go.
past
That's right.
8 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Downstairs used to be the Social Security office.
Yes,
But
yes.
we've been there, and I do really encourage. This is a great resource, and I think right now it's a great opportunity for people to go in person. I believe 790 Broadway has very good COVID-19 protocols for safety distancing, mask mandating, and it's a great opportunity for our community members to get to move ahead, their professional careers. So.
I'm happy that you're doing something like that because I went through a program when I went to school, and I went through it was Kobe, and after I got the training, I went through alternative high school. I graduated, I got the training. I was working in Con Edison for a while until in '84 until they went on strike. But it's good that they give you hands-on training because there's good jobs out there that these kids can get. Everybody can't be a lawyer or a judge or something, so maybe they can get a nice skill trade where they can get a good job. But that's very good, St. Nick. Very good. I'm happy.
Great.
So-
Thank you so much for your support.
Are you you're not actually teaching trades, you're just doing like high school education, English, but you're not teaching like hard skills like carpentry or anything like that. Is that correct?
We are as part of our workforce development. So I'm the Deputy Director for Adult Education, but I can put you in touch with our Deputy Director for Workforce. So we do have hands-on training. We partner with Solar One with a lot of those trainings as well. So happy to share more information.
Okay, thank you.
If I can add just real quick, Workforce is doing some very exciting jobs. Some are constructions, and many of the affordable housing developments they also are mandated or expected to do local hiring. So I think that's something to consider. You know, every time that there is a development, how can we make sure that our community members get those jobs? And those are construction, carpentry, but also landscaping. So I think maybe my suggestion, Sarah, is maybe you can come one time and put in the agenda so you can present a little bit more than the 1.5 minutes, and you can
Sure.
describe all the programs that you guys provide.
Sure, I'd be happy to. I would be happy to.
Okay.
Virgie? All right.
I have a question.
Did you say Virgie?
Yeah, your hand
I'm
is
sorry.
raised, Virgie. Just want to make
Oh,
sure.
I'm
you have your
sorry.
hand.
That's from before. I apologize.
No problem. Just want to make sure. Barbara, you had something?
Wait, she was just saying it's for, she keeps saying adults, but it's 17 to 24, 21?
Yeah.
Is
For
that
the-
the age, the young adults? So
Yeah.
there's no program for like from 55 to 60? 'Cause They're,
Yes,
they're employable, they willing to work.
Yes, so for our pathways, yes, so for our pathways program, it's 17 to 21. That's just our specific pathways program, but we have a variety of programs for you know, all ages. We think it's really important to provide a diversity of opportunities for the wide range of community. So I can send some information on that as well. I'd be happy to come in and do a full presentation on all the type of programs and resources we offer.
I think one that it was very interesting, that it was for adults, you know, like mature family adult participants. It was a teller training. So individuals were training how to become tellers in financial institutions. And we were so happy that we were able to enroll, that many of the participants were able to get jobs, you know, with some of the financial institutions like Chase, Capital One. So I think that's one that is an option also for adults.
So just to note, the best forum to continue this conversation in depth would be the Economic Development Committee. Generally, when folks reach out, I always let them know their options for presenting to the board at length, because we know our announcements are limited, just to be mindful of time. Carlotta, did you have anything? And then we'll have to wrap up announcements.
Yeah, just wanted to know if you teach Spanish, English, you know.
Yes.
You do?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
And
We have high school equivalency programs in Spanish all 6 days of the week.
Do you teach to adults?
Yes.
Oh, good. Thank you. I have the info.
All right, so we have multiple workforce development providers that serve Bushwick and the surrounding area. So we will continue this conversation and make sure everyone has access to these resources. All right, moving on from our announcements, we'll now go through our second roll call. Please be ready, board members. I will try to be as quick as possible. And as a reminder, *6 to unmute if you're on the phone. Oldhoff Wright. I did speak to Mr. Wright today, just so folks know. He said that he would try, but he wasn't sure if he'd be able to make it. And then Carlotta Williams.
Here.
Thank you. Jerry Valentine.
Here.
Leo Teneo. Annette Spellin.
Good night.
Dustin Somborn.
Here.
Barbara, thank you. Barbara Smith.
Good night, everyone.
Yeah.
Lady Nichelle. Eliseo Ruiz. Raul Rubio.
So present.
Gladys Bouliak. Asire Polite. Suma Navoa. Kyle O'Rourke.
Here.
Sammy Namir. Desmond Monroe.
Here.
Imani Mitchell. Mary McClellan. Andy Marte. Luisa Jose. Virgie Jones. Cheryl Jones,
Here, Celeste.
got you, Virgie. Kristen Jock is excused. Barbara Jackson,
Here.
Tanisha Honeygan. Jared
Here.
Hicks, got you, thank you. Hadia Harrison,
Present.
Jose Guzman,
Present, and hope you all have a good evening.
you too, all right. Ann Guiney,
Here.
Christopher Graham,
Present.
Igati Gomez,
Present.
Freddie Fowler,
Here.
thank you. James Fitzgerald,
Here. Have a good night, everyone.
Carlos Feliciano,
Present.
Alvina Davis,
President, good night.
Daniela Davi,
Leave the last for last.
Andrew Choi, Luisa Chan, Felix Ceballos,
Present.
Melissa Carrera, Gardier Caphart,
Present.
Here.
got you, Melissa. Robert Camacho,
Yeah, leave the best for last.
Robert Brown,
Present.
Martha Brown,
got you, Martha.
Hi,
Joshua
Martha.
Brown,
I
Martha
love you
Brown
so.
here. I love you all, Martha Brown here, and good night all. Miss
night,
you. Bye-bye.
Joshua Brown,
Good night, Miss Brown.
Josh
Good night,
Brown,
Miss.
Not yet, not yet. You gotta.
Here.
got you, Joanna. Reverend Yates, Marcus Alston.
Good night.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second?
Robert Camacho, second.
Okay, Robert Camacho seconds. All in favor?
Bye.
Any opposed?
Bye.
Any abstentions?
Hi, everyone.
9:06.
Bye.
Good night,
Nice-
everyone.
Nice to see everybody. Bye-bye.